early evening at Citi Field. The sun is shining on what was a hot day in New York. Last night was a hot night for the Mets. They got two of their stars back in the lineup, and Jose Reyes and Carlos Beltran made an immediate impact as the Mets beat the Cardinals in the opener of their series. Now the Mets and Cards back to do it again tonight, and we'll watch from a unique perspective. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the St. Louis Cardinals. Mets baseball is presented in HD by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. Today's broadcast live from the Pepsi porch is presented by Pepsi Max. Well, it was 42 years ago today that men first landed on the moon. We haven't moved quite so far away from our home base, only about 400 feet to the Pepsi porch out in right field. A unique perspective for us. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets play the middle game of their series against the Cardinals. You know, I grew up watching games at Shea Stadium, and there were no seats from this perspective. Almost all of the seats at Shea were within the foul pole. So here we are out in the outfield, overhanging right field, watching a game for the first time. This is going to be very different.
You know what was great for me is I had an amazing deja vu feeling. When you were a starting pitcher at Shea Stadium, you would start to walk out to that bullpen, and everyone down that right field line would be yelling your name, imploring you to have a great game. Go, Ronnie, go get him. And they were doing the same thing for R.A. Dickey tonight. So that was a cool perspective, something we do not see in the booth.
And from my perspective here, it looks very spacious in the background here, and it is. And I thought we were going to have a bigger booth. Well, we got a smaller booth up here. So we got everybody confined in here. I think it's going to be a great view. It's a view of us as the fans would see it from this, which is going to be very interesting. I, for myself, am not going to rely on the monitor. I'm going to make my analysis from this perspective of the field as if I'm a fan sitting here in the right field seats, and I'm looking forward to it.
One thing that's very nice on a warm evening is a very cool breeze coming through the Pepsi porch in right field. The bullpen is right below us here, and that's where Jason Isringhausen had some butterflies last night, getting ready for his first save assignment as a Met. 38 years old, and he put on a show.
You know what's fantastic about Izzy last night? You talked about it, Gary. He was nervous. First time in a long time he's been nervous like that. Hadn't had a save since 3 years ago, almost to the day, for the St. Louis Cardinals. And even more important, his second save as a New York Met. His first one came 12 seasons ago in 1999. 294 saves for Izzy. Congratulations on just really a real historic kind of save moment for the Mets.
And Izzy was talking about how the baseball gods had conspired to make sure that he was pitching for his original team against the team for whom he garnered the most saves. Tonight for the Mets, R.A. Dickey goes to the mound, and Dickey's one-loss record may not reflect it, but he's been pitching wonderfully. Kyle McClellan, who came out of the bullpen this year to start for the Cardinals, will make the start for St. Louis. So it's the Mets and Cardinals. We'll be watching from the Pepsi porch. All the action coming your way tonight right here on SNY.
With you today, a little different view of the game. This is where I grew up watching games here at Shea Stadium for years, all the way at the top of the upper deck, those $1.30 general admission seats, watching you guys down on the field.
Marcus, got a couple hot dogs for us? Thank you. What do you charge? How much are they a piece?
Are you buying, Keith?
$5? That's outrageous. That's highway robbery.
Could you make sure you tip the man?
Make it 3, please.
Well, that's the last time we had ourselves a unique perspective on the game 3 years ago in the final year at Shea. We took it to the upper deck. Now a different perspective tonight as we watch the game from the Pepsi porch. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Pepsi Max, 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. By IOTV, get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Bigelow Tea, the green tea of choice for New York sports legends Joe Torre, Wayne Gretzky, and Phil Simms. By your Tri-State Ford dealers. By AT&T, Rethink Possible. And by the Atlantic City Food and Wine Festival, July 28th through the 31st. Visit acfoodandwine.com for details. Hitting the road, take the Mets with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Mets game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Mets.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Well, that's our perspective from right field. We've got a great view of the entire ballpark, and we'll be sharing it with you. First pitch coming up from Citi Field. By 4. No Albert Pujols tonight. He's 0 for his last 8. He did not fare well against R.A. Dickey last year, and so Tony La Russa sits him down tonight. And he'll play Lance Berkman at first base, move John Jay over to right field, and put Colby Rasmus, who has been in an embattled situation, into center. Daniel Descalso starts at short, third time this year he started there. As the Cardinals, 4 games over 500, take on R.A. Dickey.
Let's see R.A.'s numbers from the first half, only 4 and 8 with that 3.70 ERA. Since May 20th, though, his ERA has been 2.69, and at Citi Field, much better at 2.9589 in his career.
And we'll take a look at the Mets' Lexus defense. You can see the pass balls were totally having a tough time. A lot of that's due to who's on the mound out there. R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer. He's had a really tough time with it of late. Reyes back in the lineup. Beltran made their presence felt. Reyes both offensively and defensively.
I thought we should have shown the defense upside down. That's the way we're looking at it. We are right above Carlos Beltran as he stands in right field. I mean, we can just see him in front of us. As Skip Schumacher leads off against R.A. Dickey, and the first pitch of the night is a knuckleball in for a strike. Schumacher 0 for 2 in the game last night, hitting a .262 for the year. This is what we are looking at. You see Beltran right underneath us.
So if there's a ball in between Pagan and Beltran, if you say it's all yours, Carlos, he's going to help or hurt.
Pulled down the first baseline and into the corner, and Beltran comes over to the line to play it. On his way to second is Schumacher, and he's in standing with a leadoff double. Now Ronnie will describe what it looked like watching me try to watch this play.
As soon as this ball goes down the line, a little knuckleball that Schumacher gets past Duda, who is playing even with the bag, Gary Cohen had to stand up and look down and to his left to try to find that ball from Carlos Beltran.
Well, a situation there where the corners were in, and that burned the Mets as Duda couldn't get to that ball.
So here is John Jay, who went 1 for 3 last night, playing in center field again. And a bunt. Dickey off the mound, has to be quick with it, and gets Jay at first. Sacrifice successful, 1-3, moving Schumacher over to third.
Surprising move there early by La Russa.
Especially the way his pitcher, Kyle McClellan, has been struggling lately. Play for 1 run.
Nice play by R.A.
Moving much better now than he was a few weeks ago with the foot and the glute issue. So here's Matt Holliday trying to do something against R.A. Dickey that has never happened. Dickey has never given up an earned run in the first inning of a game at Citi Field. 21 starts going back to his joining the Mets last year.
Well, the odds are in the favor of the Cardinals to get one aboard here. They're one of their best hitters in the league, right up at the plate, and the Mets conceding the run, playing back.
The only run he's allowed was an unearned run. That was last year in the first inning of a Citi Field game, and the first pitch fastball, and he gets a strike to Holliday.
I wonder if that bunt was a result of an advanced scout knowing that the injuries that Dickey has suffered all season long said you should test him early.
You know, I would have thought that if Jay were in something more of bunt for a base hit and settle for a sacrifice mode, but he's sold out to the sacrifice. Out to center field, that'll get the run in. Schumacher tags at third. Pagan makes the grab, but the throw will arrive far too late, and it's a sacrifice fly from Matt Holliday. So the Cardinals get him over and get him in, and they take an early 1-0 lead.
It shouldn't be that easy to get a run, but it looked like there, didn't it?
That's when you love to be a third hitter in the lineup.
50th run batted in for Holliday. So 2 out and nobody on with a run home. And now Lance Berkman, who hit a bomb of a home run last night onto the Shea Bridge. If he hits one that hard in our direction, I saw you guys had gloves.
We're ready.
Okay, because you guys are the Gold Glovers.
Between Keith and I, we got 12 or 13 Gold Gloves, Gary, so we're all set.
Well, this is Berkman's 26th league leading home run in the National League, and that was a blast up into the Shea Bridge. Ahead in the count, got a fastball.
Well, Beltran hit one onto the bridge earlier this year, and Berkman matched him.
Well, you know, they have those hits in San Francisco that go into Covey Cove. There's only been, what, 5 onto the Shea Bridge, maybe 4? Adam Dunn had one.
Right.
Tell you what, I don't feel like I have any
Davis
cover.
had one.
I don't feel like I have any cover here with the planes taking off over our heads. We have nothing over our head.
You can't stop the game like you used to when you played. It's going to keep going.
3-0 now to Berkman. And fastball on the corner, 3-1.
And you can see Turner. I see the back of Turner. He's playing way deep in the outfield. Short right field out in the grass. Reyes way up the middle.
And another fastball. So he threw a 3-0 fastball and a 3-1 fastball, and Berkman takes them both.
You know, the only problem you have playing where Turner's playing is that Berkman, even though he's in an advanced age, he runs pretty well.
He almost beat one out last night that he hit to Turner. 3-2. And he throws him a third straight fastball, but misses with that, and Berkman is aboard with a 2-out walk. Now, what do you make of that?
Boy, that's to challenge that kind of hitter with David Freese batting next. That was very surprising.
Well, does that maybe tell you that Dickey doesn't feel early like he has his best knuckleball?
Well, I think that definitely is that part of it, Gary. Plus, we feel something we don't always feel in our booth. It's very windy, and that could have an adverse effect on the knuckleball early.
Well, an adverse effect as far as trying to locate it, throw a strike with it. I mean, it's got to be an adjustment. It's different throwing in the pen than it is out on the mound.
David Freese 1 for 4 last night, and he takes the knuckler for a strike. Freese hitting at .317.
Didn't they always say that you wanted the wind in your face for a knuckleballer to get the knuckleball to float more?
Absolutely.
And Freese hits it right back at Dickey. It knocks him down, and he makes the play. R.A. just manages to protect himself on that shot back from Freese. Cardinals get a run in the first and lead it 1-0. Jose Reyes leads off against Kyle McClellan as the Mets come up in the bottom of the first. Reyes starts the night at .355, leading the National League batting race by 31 points. Here's your Mets starting lineup tonight, brought to you by Geico. Josh Tolley back after the birth of his son last night. Carlos Beltran on base 5 times in a row in last night's game. And Reyes pops one up in foul ground. Freese coming over, should have room. One away.
Well, McClellan, a lot like Loesch last night, got off to an incredible start, 5-0. Has been 1-6 since then. Really have to watch him in the 4th, 5th, and 6th inning. More than half of the runs he's allowed this year has happened in those innings.
Here's Justin Turner. Turner 2 for 5 in the game last night, hitting .370 over his last 6 games after a brief slump.
And Gary, look at the positioning of Schumacher at second base, a little bit more over towards the first baseman. We were harping on it last night. Let's see.
Although last night Pujols was playing first base and he was more toward the hole. I don't think Berkman feels as comfortable playing that far away from the line. And Turner takes one down the line, just foul.
And we'll take a look at the St. Louis Cardinal Redbird defense, brought to you by Coors Light. And you see Berkman subbing in for Pujols, who's been injured, 15 starts at first base. He's lost a lot. Gives him a little better defense in the outfield with Rasmussen center, and there's Pujols, and Jay in right. Holiday in left is a liability, but he can hit.
I wonder how much of Tony La Russa giving Pujols the day off has to do with not wanting to get messed up facing Dickey.
I would think a lot of it has to do with it.
I think a lot of it has to do with it too, Gary and Keith, and also Albert did not look like Albert last night, so he's a little out of sorts anyways. Hit into a couple double plays, number 21 and 22.
McClellan having trouble commanding his breaking ball early, 2-2 to Turner.
Well, in the 80 Cardinals when I played with, George Hendrick was our cleanup hitter, and he did not like knuckleballers, and he told Whitey Herzog, and Whitey always sat him down against Joe Niekro and Phil Niekro.
Turner bounces one down to Berkman, and he'll take it himself. 2 down. I have to tell you, it's only the first inning. I love this perspective.
It's nice. It's we thought we'd be a little compromised in what we could see and report to you guys about the game. I think we're going to be fine. We can see a lot.
You know what I would compare it to? In spring training, I've had the opportunity a couple of times to sit out on the berm in Port St. Lucie. It's a little bit lower, but it's the same general perspective.
You know, for someone like me who grew up in Boston going to Fenway Park, when you sit way up in right field, kind of where that seat that Ted Williams hit that home run, this is exactly the same view you had, but you could look right into the bullpens.
Is this around as high as the Monster Fenway?
Yeah. It's
maybe a little higher than
that. Higher. But that right field goes so far back. Right. It's got to be, what, 50, 60 rows.
2-1 to Beltran, who had the big night last night. 3 for 3 with a couple of walks. And McClellan paints the outside. It's 2-2.
No, what a return to the lineup for Reyes and Beltran. Much big part of that Met win last night.
Out to left center. Closing on it is Holiday, and Rasmus comes over to make the grab. So 1-2-3 inning for Kyle McClellan. After 1 at Citi Field, 1-0 St. Louis. Experience in the last inning. Look at this.
A little knuckleball that was aimed right at his jaw. He just got his glove up, and if he wasn't the superior fielder that he is, that could have been trouble.
What was that baseball term? Watch your lips.
That's right. That was one.
Colby Rasmus leads off the second inning. Rasmus, normally the regular center fielder, but has seen his playing time diminish of late. He and Tony La Russa have been in somewhat a state of butting heads for the last 2 or 3 years. A lot of it having to do with Rasmus seeking advice from his dad rather than from the Cardinal hitting coaches.
By the way, that Baseball is littered with a history of dads helping their sons when they're struggling. I mean, that always has happened, but, you know, I guess the accusations were made that he wasn't listening to Mark McGuire, who's there, the hitting coach, and Mike Aldretti, who also helps as their hitting coach.
And what doesn't help as well is that Rasmus, the last 2 months, is sitting about $180. So whatever advice he's been getting hasn't been working, and he takes a call third strike from Dickey, and he's down to start the second inning. Full strikeout for RA.
I plead the fifth on that. My father was an enormous influence. And, you know, Bob Kennedy Sr. was the farm director when later in my career, when I talked with Bob, I never played in Modesto in the California State League, and he told me, he says, I had you play in the Florida State League, in Texas League, in the American Association in Tulsa. I wanted you to get away from your father. I wanted you to break the apron strings. It was interesting.
And in retrospect, did you appreciate that, or did you resent it?
Well, no, I had no idea. He didn't tell me until after my career was over, and I think it was a right move. But, you know, my dad always still remained kind of a crutch, a little bit of a crutch.
Yeah. Gerald Laird, the batter. Backup catcher, giving Yadier Molina the day off.
Listen, when you're struggling in this league, you seek out any kind of advice that can do anything positive for you, and usually your pops is one of the main guys you can go to.
But is there the potential for conflict if you're hearing different pieces of advice from your father, who's not employed by the club, as opposed to the hitting coach, who is charged with trying to get you going? Rounded down to third, backhanded by Murphy. And across the diamond to get Laird, 2 out.
I can tell you from my experience, Garen, Joe Ducky Medwick, the great Gas House Gang outfielder, was the minor league hitting instructor. What he said to me never made sense. It didn't. Bob Kennedy Senior, who was a farm director, said, "Be quick with your feet." I didn't understand that. That didn't compute. But I could talk to my dad 3,000 miles away and tell my dad, who hadn't seen me swing, and say, "Dad, this is how I feel up at the plate," and he'd say, "I think you're doing this. Why don't you try that?" So I think it's all mainly more psychological, possibly.
Yeah.
You know, my dad knew how to hit. He played, and he was a good hitting instructor, and taught me how to hit. We had that wavelength where I can actually tell him, and we would have a conversation where he never saw me swing. He would listen to me, and then I'd go out and I'd come out of it. I think a lot of it was just mental, to be honest with you.
0-2 to Descalso, and he fouls it off.
A positive reinforcement.
Yeah, can you imagine Medwick telling you quick feet? It's always been known. Slow feet, quick hands, right? Just the opposite.
It was Bob Kennedy. Yeah, I never understood that.
By the way, just to confuse matters more, are the Cardinals the only team in the majors that has 2 hitting coaches?
Yeah, well,
because they've got Mark McGuire and they've got Mike Aldretti.
I think what they are trying to do is McGuire, of course, the great home run hitter, can teach a lot of those qualities. Mike Aldretti, who was a great line drive hitter and left-handed, you have the right-handed and left-handed batting instructor.
Never heard that before. The slow knuckler from Dickey is fouled.
They also bat the pitcher aids, Gary. They do all kinds of things.
Not tonight.
Well, because Pujols isn't playing.
Right.
That's why the pitcher's hitting 9th. Descalso hitting 8th in the order, playing shortstop today. And Dickey gets him with the high knuckler. 1, 2, 3 innings, 0 runs, 0 hits, 0 errors. Pepsi Max, 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Murphy leads off against Kyle McClellan. Murphy 1 for 5 last night, hitting at .310 for the year. At the 2-run double that helped the Mets to a 4-2 win. And he takes a strike from McClellan, 1-1. It'll be Murphy, Pagan, and Bay for the Mets in the second. Cardinals got a run in the first off R.A. Dickey. Mets went out 1-2-3 in the first against McClellan. You know, the Cardinals gave McClellan 12 days off between starts. This is his first start since the All-Star break, because they felt that, having come from the bullpen and into the rotation this year, that he kind of hit a wall.
Well, he had thrown 68, 66, and 68 games in the last 3 seasons in the pen.
Murphy hits one well out to center, getting turned around as Rasmus, but he finds it and makes the grab. So 1 out and nobody on. Talk baseball with SNY's Bobby Ojeda during the 3rd inning of tonight's game. Just go to SNY.TV, click on the link, and join the conversation. It's Chat Live with Bobby Ojeda, presented by Verizon, only on SNY.TV. There we are.
There we are.
Hi.
I see the camera.
The front row of the Pepsi porch, a magnificent place to be. It's great when the ball's hit to the outfield. You kind of lean over and
yes,
find the outfielder, see what the ball is. It's fun. This is fun.
You know what was interesting in that line drive, and that was a line drive to center field. It died, and I can see why, because we're getting this stiff breeze coming from over the left field pavilion here, I guess you'd call it. I don't know.
McClellan knocks down the grounder by Pagan and throws him out. Well, we talked about that going back to the first year of the ballpark, how you've got the openings between the scoreboard and the stands, and so it creates wind tunnels. And
right.
I think that's what we're getting tonight.
Especially if it comes off the bay. We're getting wind coming from over the left field fence towards the right field foul pole, and it's a stiff breeze, and it's going to knock down any ball hit here. And it just knocked down Murph's line drive.
So here's Jason Bay. You see the flag. It's in atop the left field stands.
Very interesting. The outfield, as soon as Bay came up, center fielder stayed where he had to, Rasmus, and both outfielders, Jay and Holiday, pinched into right center and left center respectively, trying to cut off those gaps.
Hit hard right at the shortstop, and Descalzo's got it and throws out Bay, and the Mets are quick work in the second inning. 0 runs, 0 hits, 0 errors. Pepsi Max, 0 calories. Maximum Pepsi taste after 2. Third inning with the Cardinals up 1-0. The pitcher Kyle McClellan will lead off. 4 hits this year, and he lines one into center field, a base hit in front of Pagan. So on Dickey's first pitch, a fastball, McClellan gets the base hit. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by RPL Equipment. From Midtown to Montauk, for all your contracting needs, visit them online at rplequipment.com. It would certainly appear from his approach tonight that Dickey is not all that comfortable with his knuckleball.
Yeah, and last night a big hit by Kyle Loesch, we thought, early on in that game.
Second hit off Dickey, and now Skip Schumacher, who had the first one, a double down the right field line, came in to score the game's only run.
Will he bunt again, Tony?
I don't think with the pitcher running.
And another first pitch fastball from Dickey.
He must have the game plan in his head that he believes the Cardinals are going to try to be patient, so he's going to pump in a fastball and try to get ahead. The problem is if you miss, which he did there.
And the knuckler misses low, 2-0. Well, last year when the Cardinals came to Citi Field, Dickey pitched an absolute gem against them. 8 1/3 scoreless innings, a 4-0 Met win. That was in late July. There goes the pitcher, and a base hit for Schumacher. So the Cardinals play hit and run with McClellan running at first, and Schumacher picks up the base hit, and now there are 2 aboard.
Well, Tony didn't put the bunt on. He took it he amped it up another level, Ron. Very unusual to hit and run with a pitcher on. And the line drive, he had to play safety first there. Couldn't advance.
Keith, let me ask you a question. On the hit and run, you're taking off for second. It's a line drive. Why stop? Because if it's caught, you're going to be out anyway.
That's a very good point, Ron.
Just an instinctual thing.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Particularly with a pitcher out there. They're not too familiar.
Hey.
You were a good base runner. I remember Davey pinch ran you for Rusty.
That's right. Rusty hated it.
Now the Mets look for the bunt after Jay sacrificed his first time up. This time swinging away, and he hits it out to left field. Bay with a long way toward the line, sliding, but he can't get there. Foul ball. Nice effort by Bay, who was playing pretty much straight up in left field.
Pretty unusual. He bunts with Jay. He got first and second, could advance runners both. I know you got the pitcher at second base, but
you know what it is, Keith? I think Dickey's looking vulnerable.
And he's also read into that Dickey's trying to start every hitter with a fastball. Took a chance. He might bunt him right now. Give him one pitch to hit, and then maybe put the bunt on.
Well, it's moved Duda back now, and Murph's not quite so sure.
This time he tries to bunt, fouls it off. 0-2.
You know, see, the problem with giving him a swing on that first pitch fastball is that even if you put the bunt on, how do you bunt the knuckleballs? It's tough as anything in baseball, but the Russo I played for him, he will be very unconventional, and he can change from day to day. This is a much different managed game than yesterday's ball game.
0-2 to Jane. It skips by Tolle, and that'll move the runners to second and third. So no sacrifice needed. Now the Cardinals have 2 in scoring position.
Well, that's going to be ruled a wild pitch. Let's watch the fundies here with Tolle. And it's a backhand. And that could be a pass ball here. That hit the ground behind him.
They do call it a wild pitch, but that could have easily gone the other way. Tolle with 13 pass balls this year, more than any catcher in the majors. Mets will keep the infield back, second and third, and nobody out. And Jay fouls it back.
Now, to explain to our viewers at home who are pulling their hair out of that ball going past Josh Tolle, you were taught when you caught a knuckleball to not go to your knees. You're supposed to stay with that 45-degree angle facing first base and pick it like a first baseman. That's how they're taught. So not to go to their knees. So if you're going crazy at home.
Little bouncer over the mound. Turner comes in to grab it. The throw to first in time as a run comes home, and it's 2-0 St. Louis. So McClellan comes in to score. Schumacher goes to third, and RBI for Jay, his 24th.
Well, Jay runs pretty good. He got slow out of the box here. Turner has to hustle it up and has to negotiate the second base back. Did he step on second on that throw?
It would have been nice if there had been a guy at first.
He sure did. So the Mets are going to bring the infield in.
Doubly productive out for Jay. Not only got the run in, but got Schumacher over to third. Now Holiday, who drove in the first run with a sacrifice fly. And he takes the knuckler inside for ball one.
Boy, Keith, very rarely do you see infields now right on the grass. They play about 2 or 3 steps back Used to be in the day, you'd always be, everyone would be on the grass.
And that's got to be because the grass is so much shorter.
The grass, that's a sack.
Deep right field. Back goes Beltran near the wall, and he can't get it. Tried with the dive, plays the carom. Holiday into second as Schumacher comes home, and it's 3-0 St. Louis. Now that ball came right underneath us into the Mo zone, and Beltran, despite his best efforts, could not make the sliding grab on the warning track.
Pretty impressive power here opposite field. Oh, just out of his reach. And that ball was fading away from him, slicing. Excellent power by Holiday. Opposite field.
Second RBI of the night for Holiday. Now has 51 for the year. So no Pujols, no problem for the Cardinals. They lead 3-0. And here's Berkman with Holiday at second, and still only one out. 2 runs home in the inning for St. Louis. Berkman walked his first time up. And Dickey just all over the place. Dickey's been in such a good groove. The last 11 starts, a 2.69 ERA despite all sorts of physical woes.
It'll be interesting to see his last start. He had a little problem with his nails and his fingers. Wonder if he's having the same problem today.
Well, we've already seen him look at his fingernails once during this game, and maybe that accounts for the number of fastballs that he's thrown. And those numbers the last 2 months have just been spectacular, even if the one-loss record is pedestrian. Line center field. Pagan coming over. That'll land in the gap. In to score is Holiday. Berkman stops at first with an RBI single. 3 runs home in the inning for St. Louis, and they are battering R.A. Dickey. It's 4-0 Cardinals.
Well, nice hitting by Berkman. He's such a sweet swinger. He goes, look, watch him go naturally the other way here. Oh, that ball knuckled pretty good, too. That's good hitting, Ronnie. That was inner half, and he went that way. He just kind of flicked it out there. That was all wrists.
You know, one thing we've learned about the Mets in probably the last month or so, Gary, is that you really have to be careful in these kind of games not to let this game get too far away, because their ability to come back has not been great.
Now David Freese, as DJ Carrasco grabs a baseball and will start to loosen up. Freese takes a hack at the knuckler, 0-1. Now, Keith, if you lean over to your right, can you see into the bullpen?
I can see the Cardinal bullpen much better. I see the catcher, but again, Garrett's like our booth with the overhang. We lose sight of the pop-up, so I can't see the pitcher back there.
So you can't assess for me how Carrasco's looking in the bullpen.
No, I can't.
So we'll have to watch the monitor instead. There's the view that we have from up here. Or at least that Keith has, because he's over on the right near the railing.
Now R.A. getting very fidgety on the mound. There's your view, Keith, barely.
You're up there, and Carrasco's down there.
Yep, he's hidden.
1-1 to Freese, who hit the liner back at Dickey his first time up that R.A. was able to knock down with his glove right before it would have hit him in the face. Things have not gone well for R.A. since, even though he pitched a 1-2-3 second. So the Cardinals with 3 runs and 4 hits home here in the third. And a fastball strike, 2-2. Colby Rasmus is on deck. And he gets him swinging. So Freese is down on strikes. 3rd strikeout for Dickey.
Well, there's the knuckler. Takes that little left turn right in the middle. Not that big late breaker for R.A. that we usually see.
Interesting, isn't it, that his numbers here at Citi Field have not been quite as good as they've been on the road?
And he was almost unbeatable here last season.
Here's Rasmus, who struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. Rasmus now 0 for his last 11. And watched Dylan G turn in a terrific bounce back performance last night in getting his 9th win of the year. And he was basically ignored in the postgame discussion because of the return of Reyes and Beltran and the history etched by Isringhausen.
I will tell you, Dylan G is a very humble young man. He probably has no problem with that. 9th win last night.
And it was interesting to listen to him talk about his 2 between starts bullpens and say that he was terrible in both of those bullpen sessions, that he was expecting nothing last night, and then came out and he said everything just clicked.
Isn't that funny how that works? It just, he could have very easily had 2 great bullpen sessions going in on a positive note and got lit up.
Berkman at first with 2 down. Dickey ahead on Rasmus, 1-2. And he drills one foul.
You know, Gary, as you get later and later in your career, you put less and less importance into your in between side sessions and less importance in how you pitch before the game. It's loosening up, warming up. It has nothing to do with what you're going to take on the mound.
And the slow knuckler misses low, 2-2. So does that mean that you do less as you get older?
No, you don't do less. You do all your work that you're supposed to, but you don't put such a huge emphasis on it. Just get the work done. The key is that 5th day, competing.
Popped up. And Reyes taking charge. Side retired, but not before the Cardinals put up a 3 spot against Dickey in the top of the 3rd. John Jay got a run home with a ground ball out. Holiday with a long double that just eluded Beltran. That got another run in, and then Berkman with a base hit, and it's 4-0 St. Louis.
Lucas might be able to get the head out on this guy.
Lucas Duda leads off the home 3rd inning with the Mets down 4-0. Duda 1 for 3 last night. He's been swinging the bat well. The only thing that has eluded him so far has been that first home run of the season. He's 108 at bats deep, and I figure this would be the perfect night with us sitting in the Pepsi porch, since Duda has got Pepsi porch power.
That's right. I got my mitt ready to go.
2 balls and a strike. Tolle and Dickey to follow. So for Kyle McClellan, who had an 0-5 record and a 6.35 ERA in his last 6 starts before the All-Star break, now he finds himself 4 runs to the good early as Duda bounces one slowly. Very tough play for Freese, and he can put that in his pocket. Duda with a swinging bunt for an infield hit, the Mets' first base runner of the night.
Well, you'll take him any way you can get him. And that's off the end of the bat, and that's a sidewinder.
I don't know what McClellan, the pitcher, was doing. He's the only one that can kind of make that play. He's got to to get over there. I don't think you can make the play anyway, but don't run away from that.
Maybe didn't realize how deep Freeze was playing. So Josh Thole was away from the team last night. At 8:41 last evening, his wife Catherine delivered their first child, a boy named Camden. Pops one down the left field line that goes foul. So Thole right back in the fold today. And Ruben Tejada, who was scheduled to be sent down yesterday, was sent down today to make room for Josh.
You know, we didn't talk a lot about it yesterday because Mike Nikias couldn't make it in. His flight couldn't leave from Syracuse, but you know, Tejada's an interesting subject. He's going to go down to Buffalo. Terry Collins had a nice meeting with him, told him that he was really appreciative of his effort, but the 3 or 4 things that he needed to work on in Buffalo, and one of them was to control that strike zone a little better.
His swing got real long.
Yeah.
You know, in the beginning, it was still long. He hasn't got a really fast bat. And they were pitching him away, and he was going away, and then they started pounding him in, and he just couldn't square it up.
And the other piece for Ruben that Terry acknowledged, he said Ruben has got to get stronger. He felt as though playing every day at the big league level basically wore him out physically.
There's a part of being a young person that you have the energy, that can get you through. But once you start to play this game at this level, you've got to get strong. You don't have to get huge, but you got to be a strong person, especially in your wrists and your forearms.
Thole drives one deep center field. Back goes Rasmus. It's over his head and bouncing to the wall. Duda on his way to third. He'll be waved around by Chip Hale. Duda scores on the double by Thole. So Josh with a 2-base hit for Camden. And now it's 4-1.
Fastball right down Broadway, right down the middle, and he jumps all over it. And Cardinals want to play a little shallow. They've been burned now 2 nights in a row in center field.
Burnt with Jay last night here, burnt with Rasmus, although I don't think anyone catches that ball. That was Alenia.
That's going to be awfully nice. Son's born last night. I'm sure Josh got no sleep, a little amped up here, and gets a huge hit. All right, Dickey up there looking to bunt. RA has 6 sacrifices to go with his 4 hits. The 4 hits, by the way, lead Med pitchers this year. It only took 3 months, but finally somebody outpaced Chris Young on that hit column.
Well, he's given away the bunt here, and boy, they are crowding him on both corners.
Falling behind 2-0. And there were a lot of things that Terry felt he needed to say to Ruben Tejada, and I think that Ruben really wants to improve, and I think he took it all in a positive frame of mind. And now it's 3-0, so Dickey's trying to hand him an out, and McClellan falls behind 3-0. And if Dickey gets aboard, then Reyes comes to bat as the tying run.
Of course, you take a pitch here if you're RA, but square around anyway. You know, he's thrown 3 balls with you squaring around. Do it again. See if he can throw a strike.
He lays off and takes that strike. 3-1.
The only problem that RA has here with bunting is that the corners are pinched in pretty well, like Keith was saying. Josh does not have a lot of speed, so it's got to be a very good bunt.
He's got to bunt it down to third base line. Berkman's all over him. And that puts pressure on a pitcher unless you're a very good bunter. I always like to let them feel me and make myself noticed.
Dickey and Chip Hale with a little conversation. So is Chip basically saying if they come down your throat, swing the bat?
If Berkman's where he's at, swing the bat. Yes.
Or it could be a deke.
There you go.
It could be a complete deke.
Well, he's showing bunt again, but that doesn't mean he can't try the Butcher Boy. And he will, and he chops one foul. So they went with the Butcher Boy with the corners coming in tight on 3-2.
Answer me this question. You're running on second base. There's no outs. Pitcher's bunting. It's 2 strikes. If he makes a poor bunt, can you read that at second base and not go to third?
Yeah, you can. But yes, you can. But your first impulse is to advance.
Yeah. Dickey swings, grounds one toward the hole. Base hit. Thole around third. He'll score. Dickey stops at first with an RBI single, and the Mets have 2 runs back here in the third. It's 4-2. First run batted into the year for R.A. Dickey.
Well, nicely done here. Brings it back. Little slap. Cardinals do not have much defense on that infield.
Well, the Scalzo's a third baseman playing shortstop. He doesn't have a whole lot of range there.
You know, it's interesting if he lets that go, Descalso, because he didn't have a play. Josh Tolley does not score.
So Dickey gets aboard. Now Reyes comes to bat as the tying run. And I know this is probably beside the point, but the Mets have hit 3 home runs in the Pepsi porch this year. Ike Davis has 2 of them. Reyes has the other one. Just saying, if you guys wanted to don your gloves.
I'm gonna barehanded.
Very nice. Macho man.
It's so cool. And Reyes takes the fastball wide for ball 1. Jose fouled out to third his first time up. Well, here we are in the front row of the Pepsi porch. They've set us up quite nicely here. This is like home. It's beautiful.
That's Pete on the camera there.
Pete's putting himself in a very dangerous spot, by the way, to take that shot of us, I want you to know.
And Pete's got his ponytail working tonight.
Listen, I've seen him in more dangerous spots. Don't worry about Pete.
Those camera guys, they are very intrepid. Reyes pops one up. And the second baseman Schumacher calls. That's the first out of the inning. Well, it's so different for us being on the other side of the field. And from here, the expanse of the outfield looks so different.
It looks like to me that all the outfielders to get to the gap have a 30 or 40 yard sprint. That's a lot of room to have to cover.
It looks cavernous from the gaps to center field. Gap to gap.
There's Justin Turner, who bounced out to first his first time up, with Dickey at first and 1 out. But what's interesting from this perspective is seeing the fly ball off the bat and seeing how the outfielders have to react to it, because you know you have that one lag step, and that might cost you a play. Bounced down to third. Freeze will go to second with it. Gets the force there. Schumacher with a tough turn, but he can't double up Turner. So Dickey is forced for the second out. And Turner aboard with 2 away.
Well, our angle of the throw was coming right to us, and it was not a good throw. Tough chance for Schumacher to turn 2.
Dickey with the takeout slide attempt.
Big leap at the end there for Justin.
So now Carlos Beltran tying run at the plate in a 4-2 game. Carlos flying to center his first time up after his 3-for-3 2-walk night last night. And it's away with the breaking ball, ball 1. You know, Beltran, when he got on board 5 times last night, it's only the second time in his Mets career he had 5 plate appearances and gotten aboard every time. You know the other time? It was in the LCS against the Cardinals in 06. I didn't remember that. In the 4th game, he had 2 home runs, 3 hits overall, walked a couple of times, and was on base 5 times in a row.
And that's pounded the Cardinals in that game, right?
Yeah, Delgado, I think, had a big game as well that night.
You know what I remember about that game? You and I in the parking lot.
That's where we did our shows from. That's right. With the Cardinal fans jeering us as they walked by.
Oh, man, I tell you what, they're taking some hacks off McClellan.
Beltran fouls one back into the promenade section, 1 and 2.
You got caught in the rain in St. Louis. Did I remember that correctly?
We got caught in the rain. We got caught in the jeers.
They took down the overhead and it rained.
They had bad language in St. Louis, too, Keith. I don't know if you knew that.
They call you pond scum?
Everybody says how nice those people are. I don't understand. Breaking ball bounced up the first baseline, and Berkman got it in fair territory and makes the tag for the out. He charged to make sure that ball wouldn't go foul, and it worked for him. Well, right along the line, and then slapped the tag on Beltran to end the inning. Mets get 2 runs back. Tolley and Dickey driving in the runs. Tolley first at bat after the birth of his son with a long double, and then Dickey with the RBI in the bunting situation to make it 4-2. Gerald Laird leads off against R.A. Dickey, who's thrown 52 pitches already over the first 3 innings. And another first pitch fastball from Dickey. That's been the pattern tonight. Gets this one over to Laird, who bounced out to third his first time up. And a call strike with Knuckler, 0-2. What I find interesting, Ronnie, watching from here, I didn't think, since we were so far away and off to the side, that it would be as easy to call the pitches.
You know, it's funny, when we were starting the game, I said to you, I think it's going to be really easy to see Dickey's fastball from here today. And you've gotten right on top of it.
It's interesting because, you know, none of us have really watched games from this perspective in years, if at all.
Yeah.
We're so spoiled in having that dead center behind the plate location that we have. 2-2 to Laird with Descalzo and the pitcher McClellan to follow, and the Knuckler grounded toward the hole and past Murphy, a base hit. So Gerald Laird with a leadoff hit. 3rd time in 4 innings the Cardinals have gotten a leadoff hit against Dickey.
And then the ball hit hard right here on the ground.
Had some topspin on it too. You know the one difference I see being up here as opposed to behind the plate? Game looks hard again up here. From this angle, the game looks hard again. Sometimes where we sit, the game goes slower. It looks easier. How did he not get to that ball? How could he not get to that? Here you can see why.
Here's Descalzo, who struck out his first time and totally knocks that one down.
I think that we don't rely on our monitors so much up here, and you look and you watch, and you've got such an overview that you can kind of focus on my view. I can focus on Turner, Murphy, and Reyes, and if the ball's hit to the right side of the infield, the middle, I can pick them up how they move.
Runner goes back to Dickey. Does he have time to get the out at second? He does, and Reyes turns it. Tagged by Duda, and he got him. Beautifully done by all 3, Dickey, Reyes, and Duda for the 1-6-3 double play.
Well, just a nice play by Reyes here. Didn't get a good feed low. Watch him just throw off balance and a bullet. And nice play by Duda. I don't know if he got him.
He did not get him.
First base umpire Jerry Davis, the crew chief, called him out. No argument.
Hit and run again. Barusa really playing aggressively tonight.
And it would have worked except for the great fielding skills of Dickey.
Bouncing ball by McClellan. Turner makes the play, and after the leadoff hit, Dickey makes quick work of the Cardinals in the top of the 4th. Mets go back to work in the bottom, down by 2. Those 6 innings, 4 hits. Reds beat the Pirates 3-1. Jacoby Ellsbury a couple of home runs, and Andrew Miller pitched a shutout ball for 5 2/3. Red Sox shut out the Orioles 4-0. Vance Worley had a big day. So did Jimmy Rollins with 2 home runs as the Phillies beat the Cubs. Murphy hits one to the gap in left center. Run down the warning track by Rasmus, and Murphy into second base with a first pitch leadoff double. And so the Mets, who attacked McClellan with 3 straight hits to start the third, get a leadoff double to start the fourth.
Oh, McClellan, he just got nothing on the fastball. He's like BP. The Mets are just taking excellent swings.
So Murphy's in scoring position with nobody out. Angel Pagan the batter. Angel hit a comebacker his first time up. Angel just 3 hits in his last 32 at-bats.
This is not a bad time to bunt for a base hit.
And this is interesting. Willie Harris has come out on deck to bat for Jason Bay. We didn't see anything befall Bay, either in the field or at the plate. He did make that slide into foul territory to try and catch a ball that went into the stands early in the game,
which emulated.
Pagan hits one out to center field. Tagging at second, Murphy. Rasmus has a pretty good arm. Murphy will not try to go. 1 away. So Willie Harris is going to bat for Jason Bay, and we'll try and get a report on Jason.
I was saying he emulated that slide that he made, that outstanding catch down the left field line. Although I know you talked to Jason, he said that he was feeling no ill effects after that.
Well, we were concerned that he hurt his wrist.
Yeah.
That was the play on Monday against the Marlins, because his wrist kind of folded under when he made that incredible catch along the left field line.
Well, earlier in the day, that ball went in the foul in the stands. He slid into the wall. I wonder if he did something there.
So we'll try and find out as soon as we can. Meanwhile, Harris has been swinging the bat very well. We'll take over for him. And Harris takes away for ball 1.
Well, Harris, the natural choice here. Not only is he left-handed, but 2 for 4 off McClellan with a home run in his career.
Pinch hit of the game yesterday and flied out, but had 2 hits in each of the 2 prior games as a starter. And McClellan misses low with a changeup, 2-0.
You know, the thing for me with McClellan, Keith, and correct me if I'm wrong, everything seems to be about the same speed. There's no big difference between his fastball, his changeup. The movement on his sinker is not great.
Not no velocity.
Yeah,
it is. Curveball has no velocity. It's a big breaker. But when you can sit in a rocking chair and not worried about someone popping you inside, it makes it real tough.
Well, he was a very effective relief pitcher for the Cardinals, especially last year. But he always wanted to be a starter. They conditioned him as a starter in the spring the last couple of years. And this year, when Adam Wainwright went down, they handed him that 5th starter's job.
You know, there's a big difference between getting 3 outs and getting 21 outs. And Wainwright was a big loss. One of the premier pitchers in the National League.
Well, there's no question if the Cardinals are going to be a contender, they're looking to make a deal for pitching. Harris pulls one down the right field line. Foul. We saw that perfectly. I leaned out of the booth and saw it hit right next to the sidewall. That was outstanding.
Looks like you got a new toy up here. Very nice.
The one thing we don't have in front of us is a railing, so that leaning forward thing, we have to be a little careful.
Go easy, young man.
There we are. We've got lamps in front of us. That's very nice. But
don't knock the table over.
I think that's pretty secure. Right near the bag of foul ball. The word on Jason Bay, a tight right hamstring forced him out of the game. So we don't know when he hurt that. He did ground out in the second inning, and he did make that sliding attempt going into the sidewall early in the game. Well, in one way or another, it's the hamstring that knocks Bay out. And so Harris batting for him. 3-2 to Willie with Murphy at second and 1 out. That's down 4-2 in the 4th. And the breaking ball, strike 3 call. Well, McClellan, who's had trouble getting that pitch over all day, gets it over for a call, 3rd strike.
And this is what he has to do. He has to throw the curve.
This summer, Pepsi Max is giving fans the chance to create an all-star roster of their own with a salute to the living legends of the game. Fans can go to MLB.com/Pepsi Max to cast votes for their favorite players at each position. For each ballot cast, fans will be entered to win the chance to take on the winning Pepsi Max Field of Dreams team on their home turf next spring. Visit MLB.com/Pepsi Max to pick your team and enter to win today. So you can have like Cal Ripken and I don't know, Willie Mays come play at your field.
Wow.
Not bad. Lucas Duda the batter. Lucas dribbled an infield hit his first time up. Murphy still at second after a leadoff double, now 2 out. And the first pitch curve misses for ball 1.
It's a 72-mile-an-hour curve, Ron. You
Yeah.
know, you got plenty of time to read it. You know, and it's a big old 12-6. So his fastball is going to come out of his hand directly at you, and his curve's going to come up out of his hand much higher, and you know it right away.
You'd have to be able to pitch in a lot if you're going to be effective for McClellan.
He needs to get the sinker and just hope he can get guys to roll it over.
He's fallen behind again, 2-0. He's been doing that with regularity tonight. McClellan at 56 pitches working in the 4th inning. Murphy at second with 2 out. Dave Duncan keeping a close eye on his starter. The Cardinals have had 2 terrific starters in Jaime Garcia and Chris Carpenter. But the rest of their staff has really struggled for the last 2 months.
And, you know, like we said, too, Jaime Garcia just had a horrific spring training. He got his lunch twice up at Port St. Lucie, and there was grave concern about him. And look at, he's their top winner.
Now the 2-1 to Duda, and it's low, ball 3. Well, between the 3 back end of the rotation starters, Jake Westbrook, who goes tomorrow, McClellan is pitching tonight, and Kyle Loesch, who went last night, those 3 have won a total of 4 games over the last 7 weeks. So it's really been hard for the Cardinals to maintain any consistency, and it's the reason that they're only 4 games over 500. Three-1 to Duda. Takes a hack at an off-speed pitch, and it's 3-2. He's not looking for the 3-1 changeup. Three-2 from McClellan, and it's foul back. Now the San Diego Padres can't score. They're up 13-0 on Florida in the 2nd inning. That's one of those bad Ricky Nolasco starts. He can be great, but he can be really bad sometimes.
They beat him yesterday, too, the Padres, right? 4-0.
Shut him out. Tim Stauffer,
who's been great this year.
Again, the 3-2 to Duda, and the changeup outside, ball 4. So Duda's aboard for the 2nd time. The Mets have the tying runs on base for the new Papa, Josh Tolley. Josh hit a 400-foot double his first time up to drive in the first Met run. Just his 12th extra base hit of the season. Murphy at second, Duda at first with 2 down. Mets were down in this game 4-0. They put up 2 runs driven in by the 8 and 9 hitters in the 3rd inning. And now the 8-hitter Tolley has a chance to do some damage with 2 out of the 4th. Mets have been marvelous at scoring with 2 outs over the last month. And he grounds one to the left side. Descalzo will go the short way to get the force. And that ends the inning. A leadoff double, but the Mets can't bring Murphy around after 4-2 Cardinals. The hot dog guy has appeared here in the Pepsi port.
Orlando, very good. How are you? How are sales going this year? Good? Good? You watch the broadcast when we're on the road? You told us that. Okay. How much? Hot dogs are $5.50 now? They were $5 a couple of years ago. I know you have nothing to say. Only 260 calories? Oh, we'll take 3.
We'll take 8 of them.
We'll take 3. We're starving.
Keith, you can expense that, by the way.
Oh, we can?
Yeah, that one got a piece of Schumacher, and he's going down to first base. So the Cardinals have a leadoff base runner here in the 5th.
Orlando, do you have any accoutrements with that?
Condiments?
Condiments, I think was the word you were looking for.
That was in between accoutrement and condiments.
Yes, sir. Put a little extra mustard and ketchup in mine, please.
I like the way he twists the...
Just extra couple packets.
He twists the foil. That's very, very elegant.
He does a good job.
Did you order Orlando special? Did you pick him out of the hot dog vendor line?
He's working the bit behind us here. This is his station.
This is okay. So he was the man on the scene.
Yes.
Wasn't like someone they sent from Central Casting.
No.
1-1 to John Jay, who has sacrificed and grounded out and driven in a run. What are we getting on these hot dogs?
He just got ketchup.
Do we have any relish or anything like that? I don't like relish. I'm just curious.
Well, relish got some bad hands, Mike, by the way. That's a...
Did you just drop my hot dog? Did it fall on the floor?
I think he's...
I'm only kidding, Orlando.
He's choking under pressure.
Is that mine?
We're great. And that's for you, my friend. Don't spend it all in one place. Okay. Good to see you. Hey, you're a good Met fan. Hopefully this will boost sales for you.
Would you like to sign something for him so maybe he can, show off? I serve Keith Hernandez.
Thanks, Orlando.
1-1 to John Jay, and he fouls it back. Well, it doesn't matter which ballpark we're in, which seats we sit in.
Ketchup.
Keith has got his ballpark hot dog.
And moutarde.
Who puts ketchup in
I do. It's California.
Nobody over the age of 12 uses ketchup on their hot dog.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. It says a lot right there.
I like the moutarde.
Is it French mustard?
Poupon. 2 mustards.
Back to Dickey, a chance for another double play. Reyes handles it for the 1-6-3. 2 innings in a row, Dickey starts the 1-6-3 double play.
You don't think that fielding your position as a pitcher is going to help your game? R.A. Dickey will show you how to do it.
Well, how about the difference between those 2 plays Dickey's made and the plays that hurt Dylan G last night?
Well, Dylan, when he follows through, it brings him towards the first base side, and it's almost he's facing sideways as he moves along in his game. And he's been great at making little changes. That would be one that he could make. He's got the good hands.
So now Holiday bats with the bases empty, and he takes the knuckleball high. Holiday had a sacrifice fly to drive in the first St. Louis run in the first, and then he drove a double to the right field warning track in the third. What? Is that a special California method as well?
You got a
rolling of the hot dog?
You got to mix it up.
This is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
Now I get paid to do analysis, but Ronnie, take it away. I'm eating.
Okay. God, unfortunately, Ronnie's going to analyze the way you're rolling your hot dog in your accoutrements.
The funny thing is, folks, is that Bill Webb knows when I'm eating. And the first day I started, way back, and Bill would say, "You eating on the air?" So you're not supposed to eat on the air because it affects your enunciation.
Like this.
And then people don't want to hear you smacking your food. Mom used to whack me when I did that. So.
Holiday, it's a shot toward the middle. Great play by Turner. Up to his feet. One hop throw, and Duda can't handle it. And Holiday's safe. Well, Turner, tremendous stop. And the one bounce throw And Duda unable to glove it. It's an infield hit for Holiday.
I'll tell you what, Turner has excellent range to his right up the middle. And nice play right there. They're going to give that a base hit.
And what about Duda's handling of that game?
Well, that was an in-between hop. That was a tougher one, wasn't it, Keith?
Yeah, it's a tough hop. And actually, it's kind of a long hop. I probably would have put it in my back pocket.
With the hot dog?
Jeez. No, that was an in-between hop. It's a tough. It was always the tough ones.
So Holiday's 2 for 2. Now Lance Berkman with a single and a walk. He's driven in a run.
It's a big at-bat here for the Mets and R.A. Dickey.
7 hits now for St. Louis. And Tolley picks that knuckleball out of the dirt. 2-0.
Well, we saw R.A. Dickey earlier in the game, Gary. 3-0, 3 straight fastballs. I would not do that with Berkman here. Freeze on deck. You never want to move someone in the scoring position, but Berkman is the hitter you cannot allow to beat you here.
26 home runs this year, including 1 last night.
You can see R.A. Dickey stepping off that mound. He's in between what he's thinking of trying to go after Berkman with.
Knuckleball. Remember, he threw Berkman 3 fastballs the first at bat.
He stays with the knuckleball and gets the high strike from Todd Tichenor. It's 2-1.
There it was. He did. Came in with the fastball right in the corner.
Willie Harris in left field after pinch hitting for Jason Bay, who left with a tight hamstring.
Lance Berkman stepping out, Keith, with the plane going across.
Reminds me of somebody.
That's right.
Dickey's 2-2. Bounce foul. Let's see if we can figure out where Jason Bay got hurt. This was that slide.
Oh, there it is, right there. You see,
grabbed the right hamstring as he came up. So as we opined, that's where it happened. Berkman pulls 1 foul. Still 2-2. And after all the praise we gave to the ball boys last night, he's right underneath us tonight. And he came up a little empty.
He had the crowd interfering with him too, though. He didn't have a straight alley to it.
Anthony's making excuses.
He's got a little faux hawk working underneath that helmet too.
He's had a great year, though.
Yeah.
Berkman lifts this one on the left side of the infield. Murphy's right there, and that retires the side. So Dickey again helps himself with a comeback or double play. We're halfway through from the Pepsi porch, and he's about halfway through his hot dog. And R.A. Dickey have driven in the runs for the Mets. Bottom of the 5th, and Dickey leads off against Kyle McClellan and takes a strike. Dickey was up in a bunting situation in the 3rd. Couldn't get the bunt down, got to 2 strikes, showed bunt on 3 and 2, tried the butcher boy and got a base hit through the hole in the left, and he lines this one toward the gap in left center, and that's in for a hit. Rasmus cuts it off, holding Dickey to a single, but R.A. is 2 for 2. And in a year where Met pitchers have really struggled at the plate, Dickey having one of the best nights by a Met pitcher, hitting the ball all year.
Well, that ball's down, picked it off the ground almost. Well, I got to think that La Russa's got a short leash. He'd probably like to see McClellan nurse him through the 5th. Get a W, but
just telling his first baseman there, La Russa, Berkman, get behind the runner on first, Dickey.
boy, look at the third baseman, Freeze. He's way in on Jose, and I just would not do that.
Especially with a guy throwing sinkers away. Almost gives Jose a hit to that side of the field.
You can play at the cut of the grass. That's just giving Jose too much of a hole. Well, that's just too many big rips.
Well, Reyes has been up twice tonight. He's popped up both times, something we have not seen a lot of from Reyes this year. He has been on the ball all season, line drive after line drive. 126 hits, and that curveball misses 2-1. First in hits, despite missing 2 weeks. First in average by 30-some points. First in triples, first in multi-hit games. Second in runs scored. And he hits it sharply, but right at the second baseman. Schumacher to Descalzo, back to first, not in time. Good effort by Berkman on the stretch. But Reyes beats the Rap at first. 1 out.
A little bit off the end of the bat. Thought it was hit harder. The mistake here was the backhand shuffle pass. That just takes too much time to get to the shortstop to complete the double play. And with Reyes, can't do that.
Also, Descalzo tried to rush it. He threw a changeup over there. Did not get a good grip.
Well, how about Dickey having to get down and out of the way? He had not been in sliding mode, and he might have taken that between the eyes if he hadn't taken evasive action.
When you're a guy like Dickey, that's one where you peel off. There's no reason to be in the baseline.
Well, remember, he tried to break up the double play in the third inning.
But he had a lot more time, that ground ball to Freeze.
So Reyes aboard. 30 steals on the year. Did not attempt one last night in his first game back.
Molina not catching. All of the things working for Reyes in Reyes' favor to try to swipe this back.
Wasn't there a famous Hall of Fame pitcher, an old timer that got hit in the head in the double play? Like, wasn't it Grover Cleveland, Alexander?
Dizzy Dean guy.
Yeah. Dizzy Dean, correct.
That was when he got hit in the head by the throw, and they took X-rays, and the report was that X-rays showed nothing.
They revealed nothing. Well, McClellan's a guy. He's got a decent move to first base, but most La Russa right-handers are quick to the plate.
That is our perspective from the Pepsi porch. And Turner lays off the breaking ball, and it's 1-1. Justin is 0 for 2, couple of ground balls. Top 3 in the Mets order tonight are 0 for 7. Reyes, Turner, and Beltran. The last 3 guys in the order, Duda, Tolley, and Dickey, they're 4 for 5. Reyes not really in running mode right now. You can usually tell with Jose when he has any intention of taking off, he'll get in a little different stance.
I wonder if coming off that injury, he's going to be a little, conservative.
I think he already has been. Yeah. He hasn't really had a show to much steal. But still, you got to pay attention.
I mean, if he's going back in standing up, that's the sign that he's just not getting his stolen base lead. Good hit and run count, though, with Turner at the plate. And he hits one down the right side. Foul. I love that ball coming at us.
That's right.
It's outstanding.
Especially, you're going to get a half dozen a game from Turner alone.
That's right. surprised they don't play the shift with 3 guys on the right side against them. Play a Ryan Howard shift.
You can really hear the Blitzkrieg bop up here too.
Yeah, we definitely can hear the music better than we can in our perch behind the plate. And Turner down swinging on the curveball, so McClellan has his 2nd strikeout of the night. 2 out in the innings. Here's your AT&T trivia question for tonight. No Met has won the MVP award, who are the 2 players who finished 2nd in the voting. Didn't one year the Mets have a guy finish 2nd and 3rd? The year I'm thinking about?
Yep.
Here's Carlos Beltran 0 for 2, flying to center and hit a weak ground ball to first. And he takes it up and away for ball 1. Interesting on McClellan, he's been far tougher over his entire career against lefties than he has been against righties.
Well, his best pitch is a breaking ball and a changeup. Those are his 2 best pitches. Against the right-handers, does not use the changeup as much.
And he's thrown 2 changeups in a row to Beltran and fallen behind 2-0. They're the numbers this year, even more so this year than in the past.
That's what made him so effective as a bullpen guy, Gary. A crossover guy could get left-handers out.
In fact, there's been some talk that if the Cardinals go out and get a starter, they'll put McClellan back in the bullpen just for his ability to get lefties out, because they don't really have a lefty who's been all that effective in that role.
Yeah, Trevor Miller, the veteran, has been a guy that's been out there, but he's a situational one lefty kind of guy.
Well, you need more than 1 left-hander in the bullpen. The Mets have been out pretty much all year with just Burdock out there.
Beltran swinging and fouls one off the left side. Freeze coming over for a look, and he can't quite make the grab. He was there and just did not catch him.
He took his eye off it just for a second to see the rail, and I think that's where he lost it. And great job by the security guy. Nice save.
He definitely looked.
Look at that play.
Well, he looked too late there.
And the ball beat him a little bit, and that's a save right there.
Freeze found security, and security found Freeze. Now it's 2-2 to Beltran with 2 out, and the changeup low and away. 3-2. So now Reyes will be in motion with 3-2 and 2 down. Berkman will play behind him. Beltran the tying run at the plate in a 4-2 game. And Carlos dribbles 1 foul right off the end of the bat.
Pitcher McClellan is breathing awfully hard, isn't he, here in this 5th inning?
80 pitches. It's not outrageously hot by any means. Reyes runs 3-2 to Beltran. He fouls it back, and they'll do it again. I mean, it was a pretty hot day in New York today. It's supposed to be an absolute scorcher tomorrow. 96 degrees the predicted temperature.
Have we called Ralph yet to let him know to wear his polo tomorrow?
We ought to. It's a noon game tomorrow. We won't be outdoors tomorrow. Well, not at least fully outdoors. Beltran hits one in the air, deep right field, coming our way, and it's out of here! Carlos Beltran ties the game with a 2-run homer. Into the Pepsi porch. Beltran's 15th of the year. And the Mets have come from 4 runs down to get even. You think Carlos knew we were here? Yeah. He sent a present up into the Pepsi porch just to our left. And the Mets are back even. Now Murphy dribbles one right back to McClellan, who makes the play to end the inning. But this is Carlos Beltran getting the Mets even. His 15th of the year. And here's how it looked from the Pepsi porch.
Incoming! Run coming down in the Pepsi porch, and there's the scramble for the baseball. And the guy getting mauled by his friends after catching it is Nick Frendo, who was joining us here in the booth with the baseball in hand. Nick, was it a tough catch?
It was people going crazy. I just literally just stuck out my hand and I grabbed it from everyone. It was great.
You got on the second hop, first hop?
Second hop.
Second hop.
You know, it's not often that we get to interview a local hero. I mean, is this the first home run ball you've ever caught?
Yes.
Wow. Look at Ronnie. Ronnie's excited.
I'm ready to go. I thought I was going to be at a Pearl Jam concert and just jump over the top of everybody.
Who was that? Was that you pounding your glove? You thought you had a chance at that ball?
I was going to dive over you, Gary, and try to get there.
David Freeze fouls one off. So now you've got the baseball. What are you going to do with it?
Hopefully you guys sign it for me.
Oh, nice.
Here you go. Give it to me.
You get the sweet spot.
No, we can all sign them. Gary, you get in the middle. No, it's not a pencil.
Have you sat here before in the Pepsi Porch?
Never. First time.
How do you like the seat?
Great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right?
You come to Citi Field a lot?
Yeah. We bought a package and we've been here 6 times already.
Wow, fantastic. So you're a big Met fan. Where are you from?
Wanta, New York, Long Island.
Terrific. Well, Nick, this is an honor for us.
Honor for me too.
As Reyes throws out Freeze. All right, Nick. Enjoy your baseball. Congratulations.
Way to go, man.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, nice hands.
That's Nick. Let's give Nick a hand. Oh, that's outstanding. Now think about this. The Mets are playing their 47th home game this year, and that's only the 4th ball that a Met has hit in the Pepsi Porch. So what were the odds? There's Colby Rasmus, and he hits one in the air, foul, wide of third, and there's Murphy, 2 out. So 2 up and 2 set aside. Let's check in with the studio. Chris Carlin standing by with the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. All right, Chris, now Gerald Laird bats with 2 out and nobody on and takes a fastball for a strike from Dickey. And after getting behind in this game 4-0. Mets got Dickey even.
Oh boy, he's got
We've got a fan running on the field, which of course we will not show. You know, I thought the fact that we were in the Pepsi porch would provide enough entertainment for the fans that nobody would have to
Oh, they're going to get this guy.
engage in extracurriculars.
Come on, Justin. You smoke him.
He's wearing out the... Oh boy, they're getting tired. Oh boy, he's in good shape.
I don't understand. Why does somebody do this?
They're idiots.
I mean,
I think Carlos ought to be good after him.
Carlos, you don't want to be near any of that kind of stuff.
you don't want to go anywhere near.
They need more help. They need some more help out here to get this kid.
So a few more security guys come out of it.
Nice tackle. That a boy.
They've taken him down. So he'll be taken off to jail, where he will. What did they say? It costs about $8,000.
I asked someone once, between all the fines for city, state, county, court costs, everything, it's $6,000 to $8,000. So if you want to run out here, you got $6 to $8 grand to spend. Good for you.
Plus, they ban you from the ballpark for life. You're never allowed back in. So, you know, it's a nice joyride for 15 or 20 seconds, but it seems pretty costly to me.
I don't get it, but, you know.
So the security getting off the field now after they take care of their job.
We got 40,000 fantastic fans and one idiot. You know, that's how it goes.
So now Dickey has to reset himself. He retired the first two batters in the inning after the Mets got him even. Now he's 0-1 on Gerald Laird, who had a base hit his last time up, 1 for 2. Laird fouls it off.
Maybe
Ball, 2 strikes.
Maybe he had a problem with our commentary. Since you're out here on the field.
That's right. He was running towards
He
us.
was.
Thought he was coming after us.
You know, people are plying us with food here. We just got a delivery from El Verano.
Everything's coming our way.
The taqueria has delivered. Popped up foul and totally coming back, but that's in the crowd. We may need a couple of extra workout sessions during this upcoming road trip to make up for the food we're consuming up here. Those tacos, by the way,
It's going to be
are
interesting
great.
score sheet
Oh,
too.
they brought the Cholula hot sauce.
Yes, they did.
With the iconic wooden cap. Very nice.
I had this on my mantle of my fireplace.
And a check swing foul.
I guess we're visiting the gym tomorrow, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, well, tomorrow you may be in the gym. Ronnie and I will be here working.
That's right.
You have the day off tomorrow.
Yes, I'm going to fly down early, and I will greet you at the hotel doorstep, the lobby, when you arrive, Garrett.
Friday in Florida.
Ronnie, you're off.
Swing and a miss, and Dickey strikes out Laird to end the inning. His 4th strikeout, so Dickey with a shutdown inning after the Mets tie up the game. And the Mets will go back to work at the bottom of the 6th, tied at 4. are having an absolute blast tonight working up here in the Pepsi porch between all the food, the home runs flying our way, and a unique view for us from high above right field. And the Mets have come from 4 runs down to tie as Angel Pagan takes a curveball for ball 1 as we start the bottom of the 6th. That's got 2 runs in the 3rd, driven in by Tolley and Dickey, and then Beltran's 2-run homer, caught by our neighbor, got the Mets even in the 5th. Now the Mets try to restart against Kyle McClellan, and Pagan takes up and away 2-0.
Little 4-man booth today with Nick Friendo. Why not?
Nick was great.
You know what's great about being up here is that, folks, we don't get any breeze in the behind home plate. There's no open air behind us. It's all wall. But here it's really quite pleasant out here. It's a wonderful breeze.
Shallow left center, and in comes Holiday to grab it. 1 away. That was the first thing I noticed when we walked up here, because obviously it was a very hot day today. And it's incredibly pleasant where we're sitting right here.
You know, one of the things when you do these games is your voice can get altered when you have a lot of wind up here. You get those wind that rushes right through the microphone. That was our first concern, but no problem so far.
Here's Willie Harris, who took over for an injured Jason Bay in the 4th. Bay, a little tightness in his right hamstring, chasing a foul fly ball and going into a slide early in the game. Harris struck out looking at his only at bat, and Willie takes it up and away with a curveball, 1-1. Well, the Rockies put it to the Braves last night, and they're off to a fast start tonight. Todd Helton, a 2-run homer off Tim Hudson in the 1st inning, 2-0 Colorado. Mets begin the night 8.5 behind the Braves in the wild card race. The 2 relevant numbers for the Mets: 8.5 games behind, and 11 days till the trading deadline. And that's the balance for Sandy Alderson. Harris hits one out to center field, and Rasmus is there. 2 out. So McClellan, after a rough 5th inning, retires the first 2 in the 6th on fly balls. And now Lucas Duda, who's been aboard twice with an infield hit and a walk, he's scored a run.
I'm always impressed when Lucas comes up because he's got Hendrick's version of All Along the Watchtower.
I believe when Todd Zeile was a Met, that was his walk-up music. Tim Burdock up in the Mets bullpen with the Mets working down toward the bottom of the batting order. Dickey at 89 pitches, so if his spot doesn't come up, you certainly have to expect him to go out for the 7th inning.
Now we know we got something working if we get Lucas's first home run up our way.
Or anywhere else for that matter.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's only a matter of time for Duda. We've seen the power, and certainly he displayed plenty of it when playing in Buffalo this year. Josh Tolley on that. You give him a 3-0 hit sign?
I would. He's had a trouble getting the head of the bat out. This is a guy not overpowering. Let him get a fastball.
And he takes ball 4, and he's on base for the 3rd straight time. Mets 6-game Champions Club pick-a-packs are on sale now. Choose your games and get a bonus game in August or September. Each ticket includes $30 of ultimate credit to enjoy dining in the Champions Club. Visit Mets.com now for your tickets. So now Josh Tolley with the go-ahead run at first. Tolley has walked only 2 tonight, and they've both gone to Duda. Tolley drove in the first Met run with a long double to center field. Takes it low and away for ball 1. Scott Hairston, who fouled the ball so viciously off his shin the other day, is in the on-deck circle to pinch hit.
You know, we talked about it in spring training, Josh, occasionally looking inside. This is a great at-bat to look for something middle of the plate in.
He hits it hard, and a nice stop by Descalzo. And the overhand throw, Berkman off the bag, but he got down in time to get Tolley and end the inning. Well, Descalzo, not used to playing shortstop, and a hard smash by Tolley makes the play, and it keeps it a 4-4 game. TV. You can also listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Mets go to Florida to start a series Friday night after the early day game tomorrow. 10-game road trip to Florida, Cincinnati, and Washington. That'll take us right to the trading deadline on the 31st.
And get us out of the month of July. How about that?
Into the dog days of August.
Oh, you got it.
Daniel Descalso leads off in the 7th inning. 0 for 2. Get into the comebacker double play his last time up. And he takes a strike. Pitcher spot due up next. And that's Tony Cruz out on deck to pinch hit for McClellan. 0-2 to Descalso. So McClellan was handed a 4-0 lead, handed it back. Managed to keep the Mets off the board in the 6th to keep the game tied. And now his only chance to win is if the Cardinals can score for him off Dickey here in the 7th. Hit sharply, a base hit into center field. And Pagan gets over, cuts it off, but bobbles the ball, and Descalso will go to second. Yeah, it looked like Pagan was there to cut it off, but Angel has really had trouble with balls on the ground lately.
He has definitely all year, not lately, all year long, he's had trouble on his lateral movement on the ball on the ground. I've seen him muff more than a few.
And they will score that a single and an error on Pagan, allowing Descalso to take second. So that's a huge base with the go-ahead run now in scoring position. And now
About someone else here, maybe in a bunting situation.
Yes, absolutely. They're probably a best bunter.
It's going to be Nick Punto. It's a great bunter. Punto's been struggling with an elbow injury. I read a very interesting story about Punto today. He's been out with an elbow injury, and they were going to DL him. And Tony La Russa said he's got to prove that he can throw. And so he's been kind of babying his arm. He decided to go out and throw as hard as he possibly could. And he said he thinks he broke scar tissue, and his arm feels better than it has in weeks. So he managed to keep himself off the disabled list in rather unconventional fashion. Pedro Beato, Tim Burdack up in the Mets bullpen. Mets will look for the bunt from Punto.
He's up there to bunt, and Duda's got to get a little more aggressively in.
Dickey off the mound. Turner covers. Sacrifice successful, moving Descalso over to third. So 1-4 on the sacrifice, and boy, Dickey's gotten off the mound so much better tonight.
Yep. Let's see how the Mets will play the infield here.
That's going to be all for Dickey. With the left-hand hitters coming up, Schumacher and Jay. Tim Burdack will be called into the game, and Dickey will exit after 6 1/3. No chance to win tonight for Dickey. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Lincoln. Dickey exits, Burdack on with the game tied at 4. We'll be right back. Is giving you a chance to score some tickets. Just go to facebook.com/SNY and enter for your chance to win 4 tickets to see Juventus take on Club America in the 2011 Herbalife Football Challenge at Citi Field.
That's a lot of blue.
There's the line on Dickey, still responsible for the go-ahead run at third. Goes 6 1/3. Tim Burdock, the left-hander, into pitch. And the Cardinals will respond with the right-hand batter, Tony Cruz.
Let's see Burdock's numbers there against the left-handed hitters. 241 as opposed to 273 with the right-handers.
Cruz, who is on the roster as the third catcher, is mostly on the team as a bat. And the Mets have the infield in with the go-ahead run to Scalzo at third and 1 out. And Cruz attacks the first pitch, grounds it to Reyes. Runner holds. Reyes throws out Cruz. Burdock throws 1 pitch. And now there are 2 out in the inning. So Cruz unable to get the run in. Now 2 out, and the Mets can back up the infield with John Jay coming up.
I've seen Schumacher too many times. He's not a great hitter against left-handers. He's a veteran. I would have stuck with him.
Albert Pujols is out on deck, and he is going to come up and bat for John Jay. Don't you automatically just walk him here? And I know you have Holiday behind him, but it's not going to be Burdock to face him. It's going to be Pedro Beato. So Burdock throws 1 pitch, gets an out, and now Beato will be charged with trying to get Pujols. We'll see how the Mets approach him and or Holiday in a tie game in the 7th when we come back to Citi Field. Get a unique look at Ralph Kiner's career as he and his colleagues share some of their favorite moments from the past 5 decades. Ralph Kiner, 50 Amazing Years, Thursday at 7 p.m. only on SNY. We'll have Ralph in the booth tomorrow. Preview that special coming up tomorrow night. Pedro Beato comes in to face Albert Pujols.
Boy, what a confrontation here. What do? You have one of the greatest hitters in the history of the game. Struggled last night, especially on the good hard fastball, and a Rule 5 rookie going after him.
Scalzo, the go-ahead run at third with 2 out, and they will go after Pujols.
And I agree. Pujols has not been swinging the hot bat. Holiday has. I agree 100%.
How about the youngster challenging him inside with that first pitch fastball?
Lance Lynn is the right-hander up in the Cardinal bullpen. He'll be on the pitch in the bottom of the inning. Pujols 0 for 4 last night, 0 for 4 Sunday as well. And breaking ball in for a strike. And Beato gets ahead 0-2.
This is one of the nastiest breaking balls you'll see Beato throw. Right at Pujols' middle and back over the middle of the plate.
Two. Popped it up. Duda. Side retired. Mets bullpen does a big time job. Burdack and then Beato to keep the game tied at the 7th inning stretch. Pepsi Max, 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. By Cholula Hot Sauce, want the perfect balance of flavor and heat? Add Cholula Hot Sauce to your next meal. Just look for the iconic wooden cap. By State Farm, today's State Farm agent of the day is Alan Wheeler of Brooklyn. Contact Alan's office at alanwheeler.biz. It's the Pepsi Porch, and it's us broadcasting live from our vantage point right in the front row of the Pepsi Porch, and this has just been an extraordinary night. We have had such a good time up here.
It's been nice and cool up here. That's been the big thing. That's the most shocking thing for me, but obviously a different perspective, a good ball game. We had a home run hit just almost in our booth. What more can you ask for?
A nice job by Burdack and Beato there. Wow.
Cardinals make changes as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Albert Pujols stays in the game at first base. Nick Punto, who pinch hit, stays in the game at second. Lance Berkman moves from first base to right field. And on to pitch for the Cardinals is rookie right-hander Lance Lynn.
Well, Lance Lynn, who was selected in the supplemental first round in 2008, he was everything at the University of Mississippi, has moved now into the bullpen for Tony La Russa and the Cardinals.
He is a large young man. Jason Pridey pinch hitting for New York, batting for Beato, who got his one big batter out to strand the go-ahead run at third base, and Bobby Parnell getting himself ready in the Mets bullpen. Pridey watches the fastball up and away, 2-0. Jose Reyes on deck, then Justin Turner as the Mets look for their first lead of the night. Mets were down 4-0 in this game, got 2 in the 3rd and a 2-run homer from Beltran in the 5th to get even. And Pridey fouls it back, 2-1. So Kyle McClellan went 6 innings, allowed 4 runs and 6 hits. He walked 2, he struck out 2, and allowed the 1 home run. So both starting pitchers leave with no decisions tonight. Pridey takes a fastball away, and now it's 3-1. Lynn making his 11th appearance. He's made 2 starts for the Cardinals this year. Walks have not been a problem for him. He's only walked 4 batters in 23 innings. Dave Duncan's pitching staff, 2nd fewest walks allowed in the National League, 2nd only to the Phillies. 3-2 to Pridey, and it's low, ball 4, and Pridey's on with a leadoff walk.
Nice at bat.
So for Jason, who has had few at bats and not a whole lot of success lately, here's a big one to get that lead run aboard. Starting the 7th inning, and Reyes comes to the plate. A rare hitless night for Reyes so far. Hopped up twice and is the force play. Third baseman Freeze way in. Hit into left field, coming over as Holiday to the line to make the grab. And Reyes retired, 1 down. Well, Jose, first pitch swinging, flies out. He's 0 for 4.
One of the first nights we've seen in a long time where he's had the ball in the air.
So 1 out and 1 on. Here's Justin Turner, who's 0 for 3. Takes off. The throw by Laird, not in time. Stolen base for Jason Pridey. There's a big steal for Pridey after drawing the leadoff walk.
Well, you got to pay a little attention. It's a tie ball game late, and he nicely done by Pridey there. Good jump, and not a good throw. Tough chance to throw. Tough pitch to throw. Low in the strike zone.
You have to throw the ball over there at least once,
please,
at this point in the game.
5th stolen base of the year for Pridey. So now the go-ahead run in scoring position with 1 out. And Turner is hitting .381 with runners in scoring position at the plate. And he grounds one right at the second baseman, Punto. That's the 2nd out as Pridey moves over to 3rd. So now Beltran will come up, and boy, you can't pitch to Carlos here, can you?
He'll be walked.
Well, it'll be interesting to see because you've also got a red-hot Murphy.
Well, I don't think I pitched to Beltran. We'll see how Tony La Russa decides to handle it.
You've just been on everything. I don't think you can take the chance.
They will intentionally.
They're going to walk him.
So 4 wide ones upcoming for Beltran.
You know, you're not pitching against the Mets' strongest hitter, most power. You're also putting them on first base. It gives you a force at second. It's a lot of things that work in your favor.
So Murphy will get the opportunity instead. Beltran tied the game with a 2-run homer. He had the 5th inning. His 15th of the year. He now has 61 runs batted in. This is also the 52nd walk he has drawn. He's in the top 10 in the league in walks as well. 47 extra base hits, which now leads the National League. He's just had a phenomenal year. And whether he'll be a Met much longer is not in Terry Collins' hands. But it's worth watching every day he's still on the field.
Just enjoy it.
Yep. So now Murphy, who had a long double to left center back in the 4th inning. 1 for 3 on the night. Murphy hitting .337 with runners in scoring position this year. Looking to pick up Pridey from 3rd with the lead run. And with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, nobody in the league has done better. Mets have had a couple of 2-out runs already tonight. And Murphy takes the fastball for a strike from Lynn. Pridey at 3rd, Beltran at 1st with 2 down. Murphy grounds one to 3rd, and Freeze has got it. And And that retires the side. For the Mets in the 7th, 0 runs, 0 hits, 0 errors. Pepsi Max, 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. After 7, tied at 4. Bigelow T. Well, the reporter probably hadn't covered baseball for very long. If Cy Young was able to tell him that he won more games than he ever saw.
Wouldn't apply to anyone up here.
5'11", though, that's pretty good. That is maybe the most untouchable record in baseball. Bobby Parnell will pitch the 8th inning. Matt Holliday leads off in a 4-4 game.
Parnell touched for a couple of hits last night, but able to work out of that jam. And of course, the big double play to Reyes by Pujols.
Holliday tonight 2 for 2, a single, a double, a sacrifice fly, 2 runs batted in, and he cracks one foul down the right side. 1-1 to Holliday with Berkman and Freese to follow in the 8th. Well, David Wright tonight played his 6th game on rehab for St. Lucie, and he was on base 4 times in a row. 2 hits, 2 walks.
Sign him up.
I think he's ready.
That's right.
I mean, you know, all we're seeing are the numbers, but he's now 10 for 21.
Take the St. Lucie off the uniform. Just go straight with Mets.
Well, the plan is to bring him up Friday, and I'm sure that he will join the Mets in Miami the way things are going. 1-2, and Holliday pops one up in foul ground. Duda coming over, but he'll run out of room.
I'll catch you guys. I'm going to have to be in Boston on Friday. I'm going to find a place where we can catch the game.
So you rejoin us in Washington?
Washington.
So Keith gets Cincinnati?
I get Cincinnati, and I exit stage left Washington. 12:30 game, that getaway day in Cincinnati.
Nice.
Holliday yanks it over the glove of Reyes, base hit.
Pretty good at bat by Holliday. He continues to impress me. I mean, a 96, 97 mile an hour thrower, 2 fastballs in. I believe that was a slider. Look at him stay back, reach out with the hands. That's just good hitting, Ronnie.
A big leg kick, and he's still able to stay in control.
So Holliday now 3 for 3 on the night. And here is Berkman, who's 1 for 2 and a walk. So the Cardinals have the go-ahead run aboard with nobody out. Nobody in the ballpark thinking about a bunt here. With the league's leading home run hitter at the plate, and he hits one out to left center, and Harris has it lined up. Tagging at first, Holliday. The throw by Harris to second, and Holliday arrives safely. Good base running by Matt Holliday. And now he's in scoring position with one out.
Well, drifting a little bit here, Harris, and not in a position to throw. Tough to get in front of that ball, but you got to get there. And Holliday alertly tags up. He sees it's going to be caught, so no reason to stay halfway. Get back to the bag. Force a throw, even if you're going to bluff, but it was hit deep enough, and he read that Harris was not under it with momentum coming forward. That's a fine base running play.
So now the go-ahead run in scoring position with one out. David Freese, the batter. Freese is 0 for 3 tonight, has just one hit in his last 16 at-bats. But for the year, hitting .366 with runners in scoring position. And slider low and away. Ball 1 to Freese. David Freese missed 2 months this season. So he's only had 145 at-bats. To the right side, and Turner is there. 2 out. Holliday moves over to third. We'll check in with the studio. Chris Carlin standing by with the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. All right, Chris, now Colby Rasmus bats for the Cardinals with the go-ahead run at third and 2 out. And the Mets are going to walk him intentionally and pitch instead to the right-hand batting catcher, Gerald Laird. Well, Rasmus has not been swinging the bat well at all. 0 for 3 tonight, 0 for his last 13. Instead, the Mets will go after Laird.
Well, we saw the Cardinals walk Beltran in a similar situation, but Rasmus certainly not in the league of Beltran.
This is one of these games that a lot of tough decisions for the managers to make.
I don't know. Would you walk Rasmus in this spot?
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't have a problem going after him. I know the thinking here is that, it's righty-righty. You got a guy that's doesn't play a lot. Molina gets the lion's share of the catching duties.
And so Rasmus gets the intentional pass. And the Cardinals will have runners at the corners with 2 down. Now Laird is being called back. We've got Molina on the bench, of course, a better hitter.
The only problem I see in this situation as Dan Worthen comes out to speak to Bobby is that Bobby's very slow to the plate. Colby Rasmus can steal a base, so the Cardinals can put themselves in a position with a base hit to score a couple of runs.
Well, looks like Laird is going to stay in. Only La Russa has already used 3 players off his bench tonight, so he has Molina left, and he also has Ryan Terrio as regular shortstop, both right-hand batters. So Laird will bat here. He's 1 for 3 tonight. He singled against R.A. Dickey in the 4th inning. Laird missed about 6 weeks with a fractured index finger. He's been back for 2 weeks. So he's only had 49 at-bats this season. Holliday at third, Rasmus at first with 2 out. Tie game, 8th inning. Now with a look to third, but Rasmus not moving.
Well, he has 5 steals, Rasmus, but you're good enough speed.
You want the first baseman to hold you on, leave the hole open between first and second.
Laird, the veteran backup catcher at the plate, and he drops down a bunt, and it rolls, and it stays fair, and the Cardinals take the lead.
What a play. Murphy was playing so deep, and the camera showed it right before the pitch. And that is the brilliance of Bill Webb in the truck. And it was plain to see how deep Murphy was playing. And of course, Laird picked it up. All he had to do was put it down there. Look at Murph, how deep. And boy, he just took advantage of it. And that's a nice drag bunt right there, isn't it, Gare?
It brings home Holliday with the go-ahead run, and the Cardinals lead it 5-4. So Gerald Laird drives in just his 5th run of the year, and the Cardinals go back in front. A 2-out bunt base hit to bring in the go-ahead run.
We'll talk about scratching away a run here. Don't forget Holiday tagging up on the fly ball to left field. Going, and there's a wild pitch right there.
Only got a piece of it, but the runners move up to 2nd and 3rd. So the wheels coming off a bit here in the 8th inning for New York. And Toley's going to run that ball back out to Parnell, who just sailed that ball well beyond his reach.
Yeah, that's not Josh's fault there. Not even close. That ball's supposed to be inside. That's a little overthrow there from Parnell.
Do you think, Ronnie, that Parnell is upset with himself that he gave up a run and lost focus on the strike zone?
Absolutely. That's an angry pitch right there, Keith, trying to throw it 120 miles an hour.
This was just a terrific bunt, and all he had to do was get it past Parnell down that line.
You know, Keith, what happened before is that Murphy had faked the runner Holiday back to 3rd and then went all the way back there. Easy for Laird to see.
1-0 to Descalso, who's 1 for 3 on the night. 2 in scoring position. And Parnell again misses badly, this time with a slider, and it's 2-0. Nick Punto is batting 9th in the order. He's on deck. First base open now with Rasmus at 3rd and Laird at 2nd. Cardinals led 4-0. Mets came back to tie, but the Cardinals regaining the lead on the 2-out bunt base hit by Laird. Now Descalso fouls it off.
Well, the Cardinals are a 2-out base hit away from getting a nice little bulge there.
There are your city probables for tomorrow's noontime start. John Neese, who's been tremendous, will go up against Jake Westbrook, who despite the 7-4 record has really struggled for the Cardinals. DJ Carrasco up in the Mets bullpen. 2-1, and Descalso fouls off another fastball at 98, 2-2. Well, the Mets got good bullpen work from Burdack and Beato to get 2 key outs in the 7th, but Parnell gave up the leadoff hit to Holiday, who helped himself and the Cardinals with great base running. Got to 2nd on the fly ball to left, moved to 3rd on a ground out, and came in to score on the bunt hit by Laird after the Mets walked Rasmus intentionally. And Descalso goes down on strikes to end the inning. But the Cardinals scratch out a run in unlikely fashion. Gerald Laird, the backup catcher, catches the Mets unawares with a perfect bunt hit and brings home the go-ahead run. It's 5-4 St. Louis in the 8th. He fanned 12 today in a 1-0 victory over the Giants. Anibal Sanchez, who lost last night, facing the Mets on Sunday in the final game of that series down in Florida. Well, the Mets again behind by a run. Angel Pagan, Willie Harris, Lucas Duda, 3 left-hand hitters up against the right-hander Lance Lynn in the last of the 8th. Pagan 0 for 3 tonight, and he takes it up and away for ball 1. Angel with a comebacker and 2 fly balls, now 3 for his last 34. And the season his average dipped to 237. In the air toward the left field line, and that'll go foul. Off the sidewall, 1-1. Willie Harris, who took over for an injured Jason Bay, is on deck. Bay left with a tight hamstring. Derek Collins' bunch of never say die warriors have come from 4 runs down once already today. They're now charged with trying to come from behind again. Fastball strike to Pagan, 1-2.
Boy, I like this Lynn's stuff. Huh?
He throws hard.
Throws hard. Really gets that good push off. Ball really flies true at 93, 94 miles an hour.
6'5", 250 pounds. A lot of weight behind that fastball. Check swing. Did he go? Nope. Third base umpire Greg Gibson says no swing. 2-2.
You know, my reaction whenever I watch a pitcher throw, the gun is important, but the hitter's reaction to the fastball is even more important, and I get a better view of that from here in right field.
Past the mound toward the middle. Descalso with a nice stop and the spin around. Berkman Pujols off the bag, and Pagan is safe at first. Now Descalso made a nice play, but the throw a little too high.
Well, the Cardinal defense is just glaring right here. Involved in a nice play getting there, but a second tough throw off the heel of his glove there too. Another throw from Descalso that takes the first baseman off the bag.
And I'll tell you, Pujols, anytime he's got to get up around that first base bag, around runners coming in, he's got to feel something.
I would think so after the injury that he suffered. Well, they're going to charge an error on Descalso on that.
Wow.
That's a hit.
That's a really tough scoring decision. You have to spin around like that and find the bag to make the throw. That's one that should be changed. So Willie Harris, the batter, with the tying run at first. Let's see if the Mets bunt here with Harris with Duda on deck. You know, it tells you one thing, that the scorers in New York are not hometown scorers, because Pagan could really have used that hit.
Well, what was it? Red Foley was a tough scorekeeper. He didn't believe in a home book. Couldn't get a hit off of him.
Freeze in tight at third, thinking Harris might try to sacrifice. But he's set to swing and takes it up and away for ball 1. And that's out the bullpen rocking. Carrasco up along with Isringhausen. Izzy certainly will be in if the Mets have a lead in the 9th after getting his first save in 3 years last night. Lynn walked 2 in the 7th but got out of a jam. Now he's given up a leadoff base runner in the 8th on what was scored in error. And Pagan, who has 18 steals this year, is back to the bag. Willie Harris taking a long look down at Chip Hale. Want to know the count to Willie. And he turns to bunt, but that pitch not even close to the strike zone. Now Lynn's behind 2-0. Is there more food coming into our booth?
It's the worst kind. It's dessert.
Oh my gosh. These are unbelievable.
Chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, they're trying to kill us. Nicely, though.
We got 2,000 calories a night.
That's right.
Death by food. Here's the 2-0 from Lynn, and Harris set to swing, takes a fastball for a strike. So he's shown bunt once on 3 pitches. Think about playing hit or run here, or is Harris too much of a swing and a miss threat?
You could do it. I kind of like Pagan on a straight steal.
I like run and hit, right?
Yeah.
Try to steal the base and you get a good pitch. Harris, let it go.
2-1 the count. And Harris trying to bunt and fouls it off.
Wow.
It's an interesting time to put the bunt on 2-1.
Well, some of the things that we've seen the last couple of seasons here, and we have seen more of the straight steal. Look where his left foot is. Oh, my word.
Almost could step on home plate.
Step on the plate, you're out.
Yep.
Carrasco is sat down. Isringhausen up alone now in the bullpen. So now it's got to 2-2 on Harris with Duda waiting on deck. Pagan has not moved. He's not going. And it's in the dirt. And a good stop by Laird to keep that from going behind him.
And that's
keep Pagan at first.
A critical ball 3 here. Full count. You can run Pagan now.
Nice play by Gerald Laird, huh? Getting that big body in front of that baseball.
Laird, who drove in the go-ahead run with a bunt, keeps the tying run out of scoring position. Now it's 3-2 to Harris.
Got to go here, Keith, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Lynn stepping off, looking Pagan back. Lance Lynn, the rookie right-hander, in just his 11th major league appearance. Pagan runs, and Harris fouls it off. Boy, Billy been swinging the bat so much better these last few days.
Can you hear the cowbell man right behind us?
You never get cowbell man anywhere near us.
No.
We used to hear him trooping through the mezzanine at Shea. Seventh pitch of the at bat coming to Harris. First to throw over is Pagan, who was going on the first 3-2 pitch. Dives back.
You're a pitcher now. You should throw over there again. Just make Pagan know that. Try to cut down on that lead in case you can get a strikeout.
There goes Angel. And Harris hits one down to third. Freeze has no play at second. Has to go to first with it. So the Mets advance the runner by putting Pagan in motion. Harris retired for the first out.
So how critical was that getting that count to 3-2? That was a tailor-made double play. A good presence of mind on Freeze right there in that ball. Ball hit hard. He's playing in. See if you got a chance for 2. You don't. You reset. Go to first.
If Punto had been playing closer to the bag, he might have had a chance at second, but Punto was not going to get there.
Well, the only problem for Punto there is that you got to hold your position as long as you can. He had to hustle at second base, but he could not get over there in time.
The assumption is, Gary, that the guy's running, you're not going to double him up, and so you hold your position. Ron's absolutely correct. You don't want to vacate and open up a hole.
So now the tying run in scoring position for Duda, who's been on base 3 times in a row, an infield hit and 2 walks. And Lucas takes a fastball high for ball 1. Duda has 7 hits in his last 15 at bats, and the Mets could really use one here. Mets tonight 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position, and that 1 belonged to R.A. Dickey. And now Lynn behind on Duda 2-0 with Josh Tolley on deck.
Now this is where Terry Collins and his crew would just like to see Lucas Duda get something middle of the plate in and get the head out.
Well, it's interesting that Terry Collins has no left-hander on his bench now. Only 3 right-hand hitters on his come off the bench.
And now it's 3-0. Jason Mott, the fireballing right-hander, up in the Cardinals bullpen. And now Dave Duncan going out to the mound with a 3-0 count on Duda. Give us a chance to answer our AT&T trivia question. We asked who are the 2 Mets who finished second in the MVP ballot.
I know one.
Seaver had it, yeah.
Darryl Strawberry was the other. Didn't McReynolds finish third in 1988?
Finished second in the MVP?
Strawberry finished second.
The only Mets that ever do that?
McReynolds finished third.
I finished second in '84, meat. The Sandberg.
Says it right here. Finished second, 1984.
Thank you.
Did you drop meat on him?
So, are you telling me that our trivia question was wrong?
Again, we're about 30% on this question.
I finished second in '84 to Kurt Gibson.
Ryan Sandberg.
Ryan Sandberg.
Gibson won in '88. And you finished fourth in 1986, by the way.
I'm offended.
Wow. A trivia question with Keith and we got it wrong? Are you going on strike now?
I am very upset.
You're going to finish your cookie first, aren't you? Or did you already finish it?
No, it's not. Well, Pete's helping me out over here, the cameraman. Right, this guy. Pete, how are you, Pete? He's on the other side of the camera.
Right. That's what cameramen do. 3-1 to Duda. And he pulls it down to first.
Oh!
Pujols with a terrific play. Can the pitcher get there? He does. Pujols keeps the tying run from scoring with a terrific play. And there are 2 out.
What? The Gold Glover. And boy, him pinch hitting and coming in for defense. Makes the difference there.
Their Home Depot doing more on defense. Did it just the way Hernandez would have in his finishing second in the MVP season.
I would have been in front of it.
Well, he wouldn't have had the backhand. He would have left.
That's true. Advantage me. Exactly.
So now the tying run at third with 2 on. It's left to Josh Tolley, who drove in the first Met run with a long double to center back in the third. Last time up, he was robbed of a hit on a fine play by the shortstop Descalzo, and that's going to be all for Lynn. And they're going to bring Jason Mott into the game. So rather than bringing the lefty to face Tolley, they'll bring in the hard-throwing Mott. 5-4 in the 8th. We'll be right back. Series, a noontime start here at Citi Field. John Deese pitches against Jake Westbrook. We'll get our coverage started at 11:30 tomorrow morning, right here on SNY. Our throwing Jason Mott from Iona College comes in.
Pitched the 8th inning last night, got out of a little bit of a jam with a 1-2-3 double play.
Mets have the tying run at third. Pagan with 2 out. Josh Tolley the batter. Pagan faking down the line to try to distract Mott. And Tolley takes a fastball for ball 1 at 98 miles an hour.
Well, Descalzo at short is playing really up the middle, and I just would not give Tolley that hole with a hard thrower, particularly between third and short. I'd trade him to the opposite field.
And Holiday's too deep in left field also.
Hit hard, base hit, and the Mets tie the game. Sure as shooting, he found the hole, and Tolley with his second RBI of the night gets the Mets even at 5.
Well, don't want to say I told you, but that's, you just, hard thrower, you cannot give him that hole. I don't know if he'd have been able to get it. The ball's hit hard.
But if you're going to pitch him away, you got to play him away, especially Tolley.
Well, in his first game as a dad, Josh Tolley is at a game to remember. A single, a double, and 2 RBIs. And the Mets now twice have come from behind to tie. Now with the go-ahead run at first, Scott Hairston will be the batter. Hairston coming back after fouling that ball off his shin the other day. And he takes a fastball for a strike from Mott. Assuming the scoring has not changed, that'll be an unearned run charged to Lance Lynn. Jason Isringhausen now getting ready to pitch the 9th inning for New York, with Hairston batting for Parnell. And Scott fouls it back. 0-2. Hairston left Monday night's game. He fouled the ball right at the bottom of the shin, right where it meets the foot. And he was in such tremendous pain. He tried to stay in for the next inning, but it got too painful and he had to come out. There was even talk that he might have to go on the disabled list, but pronounced himself better and ready for action tonight. 0-2 for Mott. And trying to get that quick swing going with that 98-mile-an-hour fastball. There's your Coors Light freeze cam on the swing by Tolley.
Well, he likes that ball away. And that's hitting the ball right on the screws right there.
Hairston trying to fight out of an 0-2 hole. And Mott misses with the slider. 1-2. Hairston has a pinch hitter this year, just 5 for 29, but much better lately. He's got a couple of pinch hit home runs, including a game winner against Brian Wilson in San Francisco right before the All-Star break. If Hairston keeps the inning going, Reyes would be next. 5-5, bottom of the 8th. And Hairston fouls another one. That is some serious gas coming from Jason Mott. Harder tonight than he did last night. He's just getting loose.
He saved all those pellets for the major leagues by being a catcher for all those years.
Totally not a fast man at first, carrying the go-ahead run. And Hairston chops one up the line. It'll go foul. Hairston settles back in with a 1-2 count. Line the other way, and in comes Punto to catch it before it hits the ground. So Hairston retired on the soft liner to end the inning, but the Mets come back to tie again. Josh Tolley with his second run scoring out of the game. The Mets with a 2-out unearned run to tied at 5 going to the 9th. Two-time Gold Glover. Maybe the greatest defensive shortstop ever.
Wow. He made himself into a good hitter, a 300 hitter. Did not have a strong arm, great acrobatic agility, and really a clutch hitter too. Steal a base, smart player.
Ozzie Smith is also a candidate on the Pepsi Max Field of Dreams roster. Be sure to visit MLB.com/Pepsi Max to enter for your chance to play ball with MLB legends.
That home run he hit there, that was the go crazy folks, wasn't it?
Yep. Jason Isringhausen in to pitch the ninth. Nick Punto leads off and takes a fastball for a strike. Punto came on as a pinch hitter in the seventh at sacrifice, stayed in the game at second base. The pitcher is due up next. Is that Kyle Loesch in the on deck, sir? Thought I saw Loesch with a bat. We're a long way from the on deck circle. Breaking ball sits high. Fernando Salas is up in the bullpen for the Cardinals. Their young closer, and there is Loesch. I'm sure that if Punto doesn't get on, that Tony La Russa would use Ryan Theriot, but Loesch up there to be a bunter. Nice backhand play by Turner, and he throws out the speedy Punto, who slows himself down by diving into first. I'll never understand that. One out of the ninth. And so Loesch will go back into the dugout. And let's see, Theriot or Molina's? With Theriot, regular shortstop, will get the call here. Theriot started last night and went 0 for 4.
What's Theriot got to start serving his suspension, Gary?
Well, he got suspended for 2 games for his run-in with an umpire on Sunday. First time he'd ever been ejected, and he went nose to nose and got a 2-game suspension. You know, it's usually
you appeal it, and then they hear
wait,
it. And
they appeal it. They wait for it to be heard, or at some point when they feel like taking a couple of days off, they drop the appeal.
I see.
So Theriot pinch hitting for the pitcher, is hitting in the number 1 spot in the batting order, and in the 2 spot of the batting order is Albert Pujols, who's now on deck. So it goes without saying this is a huge hitter for Isringhausen. He does not want to face Pujols with a man on. Izzy pitched a 1-2-3 ninth yesterday for his 294th career save and his first since 2008. And he gets that curveball over for a strike, 0-2. He went 12 years between saves as a Met.
That's right.
He has his first and his last save as a Met. Check swing foul.
Number 1 and number 294.
Salas getting ready, hoping for a save opportunity in the bottom of the ninth. 217 of Isringhausen's saves were registered as a St. Louis Cardinal. And Izzy admitted to having butterflies last night. Imagine that, 38 years old, he's done it all, and he still got nervous.
You know, his reaction after he got the save, Izzy, who's pretty low-key, had a pretty big reaction for him.
0-2 to Theriot. And he takes it high, 1-2. Isringhausen just happy to be pitching, and you know he was done until he called J.P. Ricciardi this spring and asked for a tryout. He's come a long way in a short time and showing off some nice ups there to get the grounder by Theriot for the second out. Who knew he could elevate like this?
Well, the rest, the one thing I've seen in the last 2 days, you guys have probably seen it too, is curveball's been much better the last couple of days after all the rest during the All-Star break.
So now Isringhausen will take on his former teammate Pujols with 2 out and nobody on. Pujols has never had an at-bat against Isringhausen. They were teammates in St. Louis for what, 7 years? Albert fouls one back, 0-1. Pujols came up as a pinch hitter in the 7th, trying to get a run home from third. Pedro Beato got ahead of him 0-2 and got him to foul out to first base. Pujols now hitless in his last 9 at bats, and that doesn't happen very often. Batting here with 2 out and nobody on in the top of the 9th. Good curveball by Izzy, and it's 0-2.
Who is always so unbalanced, Keith, just a little off balance in this series.
He's been chasing a bad breaking ball here too, and that's so unlike Albert.
He got him. Jason Isringhausen strikes out Albert Pujols. In the 9th for the Cardinals, 0 runs, 0 hits, 0 errors. Pepsi Max, 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Reyes will lead off in the last of the 9th with the Mets trying to win it. Do that here in the last of the 9th.
Boy, there's been a lot of unusual moves made so far in this series as Lewis are trying to salvage this middle game before the 12 o'clock game tomorrow. 17 saves for the young Fernando Salas.
Took over as the closer when Ryan Franklin failed early this year. Franklin was eventually released. Jose Reyes will lead off the last of the 9th. The corners come in, at least the third baseman Freese does. Reyes has gone 0 for 4 tonight. We're seeing Salas for the first time in the regular season. What's he going to feature, Ronnie?
Well, he's one of those guys that he doesn't throw extremely hard, but he's got outstanding control. Only 11 walks so far this season. Little sinking action on his fastball.
Reyes fouls it off the left side.
Maybe more running, a little slider and changeup. But he throws every pitch for a strike.
Mets looking for their 3rd walk-off win of the year. 1-1 the count to Reyes. And the fastball hit in the air, shallow left field. And Holiday is there. Reyes has been hitting the ball in the air all night. He's 0 for 5. 1 down. Coming up tonight on Geico Sports Night after the post-game show. Just 11 days till the trading deadline. Bart Scott talking into that. And we'll hear more on Tiger Woods as well. All on Geico Sports Night tonight after the postgame right here on SLN.
Woods and his caddy have parted ways.
Rough on all the news.
Well, he's parted with a few things the last couple of years.
Here's Justin Turner 0 for 4 tonight. So Reyes and Turner 1-2 in the order have gone 0 for 9. And yet the Mets have put 5 runs on the board tonight, mostly generated by the lower part of the order and by that guy. Beltran with a 2-run homer tonight. That got the Mets even at 4 in the 5th inning. And then when the Mets fell behind again, it was Tolley whose hit in the 8th inning got them back even again. And Salas gets ahead on Turner, 0-2. Salas, the 4th St. Louis pitcher of the night. And Turner hits it sharply up the middle, of base hit. So Justin Turner gets aboard with a 1-out single, and the Mets have the potential winning run aboard. And Carlos Beltran coming up.
Well, there's a big blow that tied the ball game, made it 4-4. Just to the left of us, I should say.
We'll take another one.
Turner, he's like a vitamin, huh? One a day. He knocks out there.
Beltran's home run was his 15th of the year, a 2-run shot. He's 1 for 3 and a walk. And Carlos takes a fastball for a strike. Good looking pitch by Salas to start him off. Turner getting his base hit on an 0-2 pitch. Ronnie's got his glove at the ready.
Come on, let's go.
Hit it here. Put him aside. Ball and a strike to Beltran. Carlos now with 61 runs batted in for the year. Leads the league in extra base hits now with 47. Number 48 could get the winning run home. Daniel Murphy on deck. Beltran tries to hold the swing, but he went around. Todd Titchener, the home plate umpire, calling it himself, and it's 1-2.
It's that little changeup from Salas. He's got all 3 pitches, throws them all for strikes, as we said before.
Now the 1-2. Even on Beltran. Salas, who came to the Cardinals out of the Mexican League. Hit sharply right at Punto. Gets one. Descalzo's relay, and we're going to extra innings. Salas gets Beltran to ground into the 4-6-3 double play. We are through 9. Tied at 5. We go to the 10th, and Jason Isringhausen stays on. A little surprised?
I am surprised. That probably takes him out of the play for tomorrow afternoon's game.
Matt Holliday leads off. First pitch fouled off to the right side. Mets are 4-4 in extra inning games this year. The Cardinals are 5-6. You know what the best part about this is? You get to spend extra time in the Pepsi porch.
Oh, just thrilling.
Isringhausen going more than one inning for the first time this season. And Holliday, who's had a big night, 3 for 3 and a sacrifice fly, 2 runs batted in, trying to get it started for the Cardinals. Cardinals had a 4-0 lead. Mets tied it. Cardinals had a 5-4 lead. The Mets tied it in the 8th. Berkman on deck. Freeze behind him. Isringhausen got him out 1-2-3 on 9 pitches in the 9th inning.
No.
And Holliday tries to check and did not go around. Gary Davis with the call. 1-2.
Boy, got him going around there. Good pitch by Izzy.
He's a little perturbed, isn't he?
Should be.
Now the 1-2. Fouls that one back.
Good cut.
Holliday's had 4 career at-bats against Isringhausen without a base hit, including a comebacker he hit against Izzy last night.
I think after that fastball cut there by Holliday, you're going to see a curveball here from Izzy.
Yeah, something different.
He threw the fastball and he got him on the foul tip. Strike 3. Second strikeout for Isringhausen, who's retired 7 in a row in this series.
Keith, that was one of those cutters that doesn't cut. It kind of just stays in its place, like a backdoor slider, and swinging through it was Holliday.
So 1 out of the 10th inning. And now Lance Berkman, who's 1 for 3 and a walk, singled and a run back in the 3rd. The Cardinals got a run in the 1st and 3 in the 3rd against R.A. Dickey, who went 6 in the 3rd, allowed 4 runs, 8 hits. Tim Burdack and Pedro Beato each got 1 big out in the 7th. Tapper foul. Then Bobby Parnell gave up a scratch run in the 8th on a 2-out bunt hit by Gerald Laird, before the Mets responded by tying in the bottom of the 8th on Tolley's hit. Isringhausen came in to pitch the 9th and still out there for the 10th, his longest outing this year. He only threw 11 pitches last night and only 9 in the 9th inning tonight, and I guess that's why Terry Collins and Dan Worthen felt they could stay with him. There's a cutter there by Isringhausen. It's 0-2.
You know, it was interesting. During the first half, there was some concern when you watch Isringhausen. He had lost a little bit. He had real hard time with his control over an extended period of time, and that seems to have been kind of brought back together since the All-Star break.
Well, he got a long rest over the break. Was it 9-10 days between appearances? So that could help.
My guess is with Izzy and his personality, there wasn't a lot of throwing over the All-Star break. Probably just complete rest with his family.
I got him a place to stay out in the Hamptons.
You did?
Oh, yes. My bartender friend, his girlfriend, got him a place out in Montauk.
Nicely done.
For the All-Star break.
And we're assuming there was no mound in the backyard.
All he told me he wanted to do is find me a place on the beach where my kids don't bother me. They can go out and play in the sand, and I can just relax.
Well, it seems to have done him wonders. Nice job, Keith.
Thank you. I do what I can.
That's Keith Hernandez, real estate. Here's the 2-2. And Berkman swings and misses at the cutter. Strike 3. That's 3 straight strikeouts of Pujols, Holliday, and Berkman for Jason Isringhausen.
Big guys in the order.
So 2 out and nobody on in the top of the 10th, and now David Freese has gone 0 for 4 tonight and has not had the ball into the infield. In the bottom of the 10th, the Mets will have Murphy, Pagan, and Harris coming up. Nobody's up in the Cardinals bullpen, so it would seem that Fernando Salas will pitch the 10th.
Nice
breaking
curve.
ball strike to Freeze.
Nice curve.
Check swing, foul ball, and again Isringhausen ahead 0-2.
Quick question for you two guys. Isringhausen, when he first came up, is that the same curveball he had as a youngster?
It was more of a spike curve. It was a real bigger
curve.
Yes, and of course he threw very hard. I thought he had the best stuff of the big three.
When he came up in 95 and went 9-2 the second half of the year, he looked like he was big time. But then he started getting hurt and got into trouble off the field and wasn't able to translate. And finally the Mets moved him to the bullpen in 99 right before they traded him away for Billy Taylor.
Just call me. I could help you out.
Thanks. Here's the 1-2. And the breaking ball down 2-2.
I think they threw in a bushel of apples too in that one.
Rotten apples.
Colby Rasmus would be next. Freeze tries to hold, and he froze in time.
I thought he did not go around there. I thought that Holiday did. I thought he did not. Let's see, Keith.
Agreed. Jerry Davis is one of the few umpires that's around our day, Ronnie.
Yep.
That's left.
So now a full count to Freeze. A little bit high, ball 4. And so the Cardinals have a 2-out base runner. After Isringhausen got ahead of Freeze 0-2, he loses them to a walk. Only the third walk for Met pitchers tonight. One of those was intentional. And now Dan Warthen will head to the mound before Isringhausen works to Colby Rasmus.
Remember earlier in the game, Colby Rasmus was intentionally walked in front of Gerald Laird, who laid down that beautiful bunt down the third base line. Warthen going over the scouting report, but I think even more importantly, guys, going out there to give a breather to Isringhausen and put a lot into the last few hitters. You talked about Pujols and Holiday and Berkman, and their kind of a walk that he did not want to happen, so give him a breather.
I agree 100%. What are you going to tell the veteran that's been down this road before many times? He knows what he's doing out there.
26 pitches now for Isringhausen, the most he's thrown in a game this year. Rasmus has not looked good at the plate tonight. Struck out looking in the second, popped up his next 2 at bats. And he's now 0 for his last 13.
But he's so enigmatic. You know, he won't. He'll look awful for 4, 5, 6 at bats, and next thing you know, he pops one.
Freeze at first, not a whole lot of speed there. And Rasmus takes a strike. Colby Rasmus, #1 draft pick by the Cardinals, and he has had a star-crossed time in St. Louis. Breaking ball bends around the plate, and it's 1-1. Isringhausen's faced 7 batters, thrown a first pitch strike to every one. There goes the runner, and it's foul back. So Freeze was on his way, a guy who has not attempted a stolen base this year. Isringhausen ignored him, so Freeze thought he could take a liberty. But Rasmus fouled off the pitch.
He had a huge jump, even despite not being particularly fast. He would have had that base. Well, that's a cool shot there.
Where's that taken from?
Right below. It's like in front of the Shea Bridge, maybe, huh?
I was always wondering where the Mr. Med dugout shot was. Now I know where it is.
It's to the left. Freeze at first and 2 out, 1-2 to Rasmus. hit to center field, and that'll fall in for a base hit. Freese stops at second, and so now the Cardinals have 2 on with 2 out in the 10th. And Gerald Laird, who drove in the go-ahead run in the 8th, coming up again here in the 10th inning.
I'm surprised that Freese didn't get to third base. 2 outs, run on contact. Right center field.
He froze.
And Angel has to throw the ball to second base to keep that force in order.
He just didn't have any. You got to go to third in that. A wild pitch. Otto Preminger.
Maybe he had used himself up on the aborted stolen base attempt. Ryota Igarashi, DJ Carrasco up in the Mets bullpen. One more batter for Isringhausen as he takes on Laird. So Izzy, he retired 5 in a row, the last 3 via the strikeout. Lost Freese to a walk. He gives up a base hit with 2 strikes to Rasmus.
You go around the corners. Willie Harris, good at charging the ball. Not a great arm. Pagan, better arm. And Beltran still, at his age, the best arm in the outfield.
Laird has 2 hits tonight. And he takes a fastball knee high for a strike, 1-1.
Well, Murphy this time is playing way back again like he did the other time with Laird at third base. But, okay, you can do it here because it's not a bunt's not going to score a run. There's a big 3 out there, the outfielders.
Laird surprised everybody with a bunt hit, perfectly placed along third to get the lead run home in the 8th. Here with 2 on and 2 out, he swings and grounds one toward the hole, cut off by Murphy, gets the force at second to end the inning. So Isringhausen, with a 2-inning stint, his first of the year, keeps it tied in the 10th. Daniel Murphy leads off in the home 10th inning. Murphy 1 for 4 tonight, doubled to deep left center in the 4th. Grounded out his last 2 at bats. It'll be Murphy, Pagan, and Harris for the Mets against Fernando Salas in the 10th. Mets got a runner aboard in the 9th. Turner with a 1-out single, but Salas got the double play ball from Beltran to get through the inning. This is a game the Mets have never led. They were down 4-0, came back to tie. Down 5-4, came back to tie. Now trying to win in their final turn at bat.
Keith got to take this pitch, 2-0.
No.
Swinging.
If you get a good pitch to hit, rip it. Murph's been swinging a hot bat.
Freese at the railing, this time makes the grab.
They've been pitching him in. Getting in on Daniel tonight.
pitches down the middle. He went after one out of the strike zone.
And ball 3. Just don't like, personally, I don't like to swing 2-0 when you're the leadoff hitter in extra innings. The reason I say that tie game, unless you're a home run hitter, then they're a whole different story.
Murph is a guy who will hit a home run, but he's not a home run hitter. On first pitch, swinging deep to right, heading toward us at the Pepsi porch, and it's a home run! And the Mets win the ball game off the facing of the Pepsi porch. Pagan wins it for New York, 6-5. The Mets' first walk-off home run of the season. Angel Pagan's 4th of the year. And to boot, he hits it right off the Pepsi porch.
Right, 10 more feet, it was right in our lap. I was ready. Ronnie, were you ready?
I was ready. Why not?
Wow.
What a night for the New York Mets. They get back above 500. Pagan with the game-winning blow, and he nearly put it in our laps.
He knew he got it. He knew it.
Nice.
Look at this, right below us. Almost. I was ready.
I didn't see it hit the sign, but I could hear the clunk.
You could hear the clunk.
Right underneath us.
Boy, I'll tell you, this team, resilient as ever. Coming back in this game from deficit after deficit, and then the big hit from Pagan. Good enough relief pitching to hold the fort. And a win for Izzy, pitching 2 innings in relief.
And the Mets, there we go, there's the replay.
I honestly thought that ball was coming right on our table.
You had to be prepared. It was coming.
I would have loved to have seen you call it out of here with the 1 hopper.
An amazing night for us here on the Pepsi porch, and a great night for the New York Mets as they come from behind twice and they take their first lead as the game ends. Their 3rd walk-off victory of the year, their first walk-off home run. Angel Pagan with the game winner as the Mets win it 6-5 to get back to a game over 500 as you look at the Kia game summary. Jason Isringhausen, yeoman work, going 2 innings for the first time this season and winds up the winning pitcher. What an experience this has been.
Unbelievable. And I think, Keith, just as far as the pitching concerned, one of the big outs that won't be remembered in this game is Pedro Beato getting Pujols out, coming in. That was an outstanding job.
And also, Mets who don't hit home runs got big hits from Beltran, a 2-run home run that got him back in the game, tied it up at 4-4. And then, of course, Pagan's solo home run in the bottom of the 10th to win the ball game. So the Mets breaking out the lumber, the power. And it's a big win here, taking the first 2 out of the series against the Cardinals.
First time in Angel Pagan's career he's ever hit a walk-off home run, and you saw from his reaction, he knew it on the swing of the bat. The Mets had a lot of things go wrong for them in this game. You know, R.A. Dickey gave up 4 runs early, and the way that his season has gone, you thought maybe they wouldn't be able to fight out of the hole, but Beltran with an enormous home run to get them even. Tolley with a couple of huge hits, and then Pagan the game winner, and Angel standing by downstairs with Jonas Schwartz. Angel and Jonas.
Well, certainly you got the swing going. A couple of big hits the last 2 nights, but none bigger than what just happened.
Oh, man, I don't know. I was trying to look for my pitch. I've been struggling in the plate, and I was just trying to get something done for the team. And at the right time, I did it. So thank God for that.
Is it magic when you move down in the order? We talked about this last night. When you move down in the order, you just seem so much more productive. What is it about moving down in the order for you?
I mean, I feel like when I'm in, have people in scoring position, my approach is much better. I get much shorter to the ball, and I push myself to the limit. So I think that's my perfect spot.
Do you think you've been sort of searching for it all year? Do you think this is the kind of hit, obviously, that can get you going on a hot streak now?
I mean, hopefully. I've been working really hard. I know it's pretty frustrating sometimes when you come out here every time and you don't get a hit, but you have to keep believing in yourself, and it's going to happen like tonight.
With all the trade talk that surrounds this team, do you think that wins like this make a case to keep everybody here?
I don't know. I'm not the one to say, but right now I can tell you we have a great team. With Carlos and Reyes back, we have such a great team, and we have to keep battling.
All right, thank you. Congratulations on the big hit. Good luck, Angel.
Thank you, guys.
All right, let's send it back upstairs to Gary, Keith, and Ron.
Thanks very much, Jonas, and thanks, Angel. Every time the Mets hit 2 home runs in a single game this season, go to sny.tv/Dwayne Reed, print out a special offer coupon, and redeem at any Dwayne Reed location. A special night for the New York Mets. And for us here in the Pepsi porch, we had one bomb go to our left and the game winner hit right below us. Angel Pagan with a walk-off homer. Mets win 6-5. We'll be right back.